Welcome to Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. I'm Rob Wilson.
And I am Tony the Quano.
So, Tony, let's talk about a movie from 1990. Moving up a few years from our last movie that we talked about. We are just barely in the 90s.
Barely, but we were in the 90s. It's a late 1990 release, by the way.
Yes, late 1990 release, so almost 91. But
and I don't know why I associate this movie with the 80s.
Well, I mean, it was
1990 release.
Just after the 80s ended, so
yes,
I could understand that. And there's still a lot of 80s fashion, even though it's 90s.
Yes.
But, yeah. So we're going to be talking about the Arnold Schwarzenegger classic, Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop. I love this movie.
We have done a few Arnold movies so far, and we are going to be doing more of them as time goes on. And this is the one we're doing today.
I have fond memories of this movie.
So do I. This is a movie that I'm surprised that I was able to watch when I was a kid, because like I was able to watch this movie when I was like 5, 6 years old. So, yes. I guess it would have been like 6 when I first saw it, because this came out. Yeah, it came out in 90. So yeah, I would have been like 6 or 7.
It would have been like 6 when
it came out. So, and
what's kind of funny about it, as I said, it's like late. I think they released it around Christmas time. Like, I know it was kind of competing with families for like Home Alone at the same time. And it's not a movie you think of as a holiday movie.
No,
not that you have to release only holiday movies around that time.
Yeah.
But, in the years since, it's been on TV a lot, and it feels like the TV version is drastically different.
Yes.
than the theatrical cut.
I mean,
they make that one much more family friendly.
Yeah, I mean, it's already one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's most family-friendly movies.
Yes.
But there's still a decent amount of violence in parts of it. And the violence that is there is,
child endangerment.
Severe. Yes. And, all that. And it's rated PG-13. And that's why I'm kind of surprised I was allowed to watch it when I was like 7. Because
I have a very distinct memory of going to the theater with my family to watch this. And then my brother and I joking about different parts of the movie on the ride home. And so I'm not certain about how they settled on Kindergarten Cop as the movie would go into as a family. Because, I would have been like probably 6 or 7, about 7, right? And yeah. And
well, maybe they thought that, it's a movie about a bunch of kindergartners and, they got some kids and it'd be a fun movie.
Yes. It's got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. Like, I think he was recently in Twins. Not he's also recently in The Running Man and Commando and Predator.
Yeah.
The upcoming Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yeah. But this movie is way different than all of those movies to a certain extent.
In some ways, it kind of sets the tone for the early 2000s when you had The Rock and Vin Diesel starring next to kids in different movies. But this is much better than any of those.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I don't think you mentioned that Ivan Reitman directed it.
Yes, he did.
The director of Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2.
Yes. You
can go back and check the episode out if you so please.
And his kids, Jason and Catherine Reitman, have small roles in this movie.
They have small roles in this movie, yes. However, Harold Ramis doesn't have a role in this movie. Bill Murray does not have a role in this movie. Dan Aykroyd does not have a role in this movie.
Nope. But Linda Hunt does.
However. As does Penelope Ann Miller and Pamela Reed.
Yep.
And Kathy Moriarty has a role in this, and kind of a small one, but she had previously been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
And Carol Baker, another Oscar-nominated actress. Linda Hunt is an Oscar winner.
Mm-hmm. And that Oscar's probably taller than she is. It's funny.
For a long time, this was like the one movie I associated Linda Hunt with was Kindergarten Cop.
Me too. Yeah, it's always funny seeing Linda Hunt and Arnold Schwarzenegger standing next to each other. Because Arnold's like 6'2" and she's 4'9". There's like a 1.5 difference there.
It's always the certain actors or actresses that kind of stick with you and they stay that age, and Linda Hunt's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So when this movie was released, she would have been like 45 years old. That's when the movie was being filmed, right? So she is 79 years today. And when I saw this movie, I thought she was about 79 years old.
Yeah, she's
Every
always
time
looked like
I see this movie, I think she's 79 years old.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she probably looked like she was 79 years old when she was 12. I mean,
I think it's the suit.
Yeah, I'm sure she's never worn anything but a pantsuit in her entire life.
But terrific actress. I mean, all jokes aside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's a terrific actress.
Fantastic, yeah.
So, I mean, Dune, obviously, Stranger Than Fiction, Year Living Dangerously, Popeye. So, yeah, no, great actress. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of kids in this movie, and, there's...
Yes, and the kids do a great job, too.
Yes. I think Miko Hughes obviously does perhaps the best job.
Yes, and Miko Hughes, actually, he's had a long career since this.
Yes. I mean, he was Apollo 13, Mercury Rising, New Nightmare, Full House even, right?
And he was even the voice of the radio host in Tropic Thunder.
That was the next one, was in The Ghost, and he was in Tropic Thunder. He was uncredited in that, but yeah, he was the radio host in Tropic Thunder, which is a movie we do hope to get to.
Yes. We are planning on doing that one sometime.
We might do that this summer. Cap off our blockbusters this summer. I mean, we love ourselves some Ben Stiller and Jack Black and Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I don't know how many times I've seen it since then. Because we didn't own it, and the movie just stuck with me, and I would see it sometimes on TV and occasionally watch it.
Yeah. See, we own this one.
Okay.
We had the VHS of this one, and it was, I watched it all the time. And I used to play, like, when my friends and I were playing, like, cops and robbers and stuff, I was always Detective John Kimball.
I want to be John Kimball. Did he have Miko Hughes in there playing his role?
No.
No, I like that. That's funny. Yeah, no, we never owned it, and so I would see it periodically throughout the years. But it's one of those movies that just kind of stuck with me, even not having watched it a lot. And it's because it's memorable.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
And then anytime we go back and watch it, like, oh yeah, this is such a great movie. And I think it's great because, like, okay, so maybe there's a few kids in it that are a little bit annoying, but like none of them are really that annoying.
No.
They all seem like just real kids, and they don't try to put anything kind of other personality on them that doesn't fit being like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's like they just put all the kids in the room, just told them, "Hey, be kids."
Yes. And Miko Hughes, he knew what to do.
Yes, he knew what to do. Little Joseph.
What's funny looking at this, like, since I brought up his Wikipedia page, he would have been like 4 when they were filming this, which I think makes it even funnier since he was probably more like a pre-K kid.
So yeah, I mean, when they filmed it, when did they film it? They filmed it in '89.
Well, it was released at the end of '90, so it could have been
filmed
earlier.
Beginning of '90.
Filming. Let's see. No, so it was the summer of '90.
Okay, so that was a quick turnaround then.
So they filmed it. They basically used an actual the school building there on location.
Which obviously
but they waited until school was out for the year so they could do the filming.
Makes sense. And I guess back in the early '90s, there wasn't as much post-production as there is now.
Yes. Now the interior school shot stuff was like a sound set stage.
Yeah, so I don't remember when it was that I saw this movie for the first time. I don't think I saw it in the theater. I think it was one of those ones I didn't see it till we owned the VHS.
Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it has stuck with people through these last 35 years. There's plenty of memes and quotes that have survived. So, and I've always loved the cover art or the poster for this.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
just using Arnold as a jungle gym essentially, and then the little crayon script.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's how they did the credits also in here. They had sort of, the crayon going around. Which
is kind of funny with how the movie starts.
Yeah.
Being a little more serious.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those movies. It's got some seriousness to it. I mean, overall, it's a light it's a family
hybrid
movie,
comedy.
But it's got some heavy stuff sprinkled throughout it.
Cop action type of thriller-ish, And it's kind of fun, think about that, like Ivan Reitman, like, Ghostbusters is kind of a hybrid too. I mean, it's a comedy, but it's a ghost story also, essentially.
Yeah.
It plays up its thrills pretty well.
Yeah. And at one point in this movie, when we see a brief glimpse of Dominic's room, he's got Ghostbusters sheets.
Yes, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Why not? Ghostbusters 2 just came out. His mom might have Ghostbusters on VHS for him. Mm-hmm. There's the real Ghostbusters TV series out that he's watching.
Yep.
Along with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because, I mean, it's funny. These kids are like our age.
Yeah. And also...
and maybe that's part of the endearing part of it, too. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, and also Randy Edelman, the composer for this one. He did the music for it. He also did the music for Ghostbusters 2.
Ah. Okay, so there's also, I was looking this up for whatever reason, but the cinematographer, Michael Chapman, I clicked on his Wikipedia page, and it's funny. It's not a photograph of him or a picture from like one of his movies. It is a portrait of him. I'm like, okay, that's weird that there's the cinematographer for Kindergarten Cop has a portrait on his Wikipedia page. Right. But he worked a lot with Martin Scorsese.
Interesting.
So he shot Taxi Driver. He shot Raging Bull. He also shot Ghostbusters 2. He shot The Fugitive. He shot The Lost Boys. But then, like, he also shot Kindergarten Cop. He shot Space Jam. So he's probably nominated for Fugitive and probably Raging Bull would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Raging Bull. He didn't win the Oscar for either, but yeah. Oh, and then he was a cinematographer on the music video for Bad.
Look at that.
Interesting little
and
career.
Evolution with David Duchovny.
Yes. Well, it's also a Reitman movie.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
6 Days, 7 Nights.
So is 6 Days, 7 Nights. Dead Man Don't Wear Blood. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's always an enjoyable movie, too.
Yep.
But yeah. And there's a few other cast members I want to bring up, but I think I'm going to wait for as we talk about the movie before we get to that.
Yep. So, we ready to get into it?
Yes.
All right. Well, as always, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about this entire movie, beginning, middle, and end. So if you have not seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, pause the podcast, watch the movie, come back and listen. If you have seen the movie or if you just don't mind spoilers, then keep on listening. But you have been warned. This is a great movie.
It is a great movie.
And we're going to spoil it.
I mean, you know, what's it a spoil?
Yeah. Chances are, just like Karate Kid last week, if you haven't seen this movie, you probably already know everything about it because it's been in the cultural zeitgeist since it came out.
It has. Yes.
If nothing else, I'm sure you've heard various quotes from this movie.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all.
Okay, before we dive even deeper into this, like thinking about like not allowing kids, no, I shouldn't say that, like in terms of like being surprised you watch because it earns every part of its PG-13.
Yeah,
it's definitely not a PG movie, and I mean, if it were released 6 years earlier, then sure, it probably would have gotten PG.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of talk about divorce in this movie.
There is a lot of talk about divorce.
It's also the movie that introduced me to the city of Astoria, Oregon.
Yes. Yes.
It's it's shot on location.
I don't know if this was the one that introduced me to Astoria, Oregon, or if it was Goonies. I don't know which one. I saw them both around the same time.
Goonies, but this is the one that cemented it into my my head, my brain.
I think I saw Goonies a little bit before this one because I think I originally saw Goonies in the 80s. But yeah, it was. I think I saw Goonies before I saw this one.
We do have a plan to do the Goonies eventually as well, if you're worried about that.
Yes, we are planning on doing Goonies sometime.
So back to the beginning of Kindergarten Cop. And as Rob referenced a short time ago, it has with the opening credits, the font is like the crayons. Mm-hmm. It's like the crayon script, right? But it takes place in the second greatest mall scene ever in a movie, behind Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Hey, what about First Kid?
I have a soft spot for First Kid because they filmed that near where we grew up at the Tyson's Galleria Mall. And so, but, First Kid's going to have to at least settle for third. I'd have to think if there's other movies.
Mighty Ducks?
Well, okay. See, Mighty Ducks is about Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead literally like completely in the mall. So, yeah, I mean, but this is a great, great mall scene.
The mall is actually the setting of that movie. It'd probably be excluded from this conversation.
Yes, I agree.
Because it says scene.
Mm-hmm. Scene. I agree. And it's funny because both of your top two that you listed are Arnold movies.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to go and do like a signing at a mall or something. An autograph signing.
Well, hey, I think Jingle All the Way. Mm-hmm. It's all set up.
I was going to mention that one too. Jingle All the Way, another Arnold movie in a mall. Commando. Arnold just can't stay out of malls.
they've really missed the opportunity for Arnold to play a mall Santa.
Yes, they did. I mean, in Jingle All the Way, he fights a bunch of mall Santas.
That's someone if someone's listening that makes those decisions, cast Arnold as a mall Santa.
Hey, his hair is about the right color now.
Yeah, it is. He's jolly. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I would see that movie.
Like, I don't know completely what the premise would be.
It doesn't need a premise. Just Arnold as a mall Santa. That's enough to get me in the seat.
Good boy or bad?
Ho, ho, ho. On Dasher, on Dancer, on Donovan, on Blitzen. I'm coming on Cupid.
Okay.
On Dasher,
I
on
looked
Dancer, on Prancing
and
and Vixen,
on location in the small.
On Comet and Cupid. On Donovan and Blitzen.
To the top.
Rudolph, move your ass. Rudolph, turn your nose on.
What happened? That's oh my.
And if there is ever a movie where Arnold plays Santa, they better give us credit.
Oh yeah, they better,
because this is our idea.
So, I looked up the mall. So it is, it's filmed on location in the mall, at a mall. It was actually recently opened. So I think 1987. There's like 3 stories. It's in Los Angeles, and I was thinking about it as we were watching this movie, as I was watching it the other night, and I was thinking like this mall is huge.
Yeah,
it's like the actual back areas of this mall are large. And then I was reading it's a 3-story mall. Like, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But it's like a classic mall from like the 80s, early 90s.
Well,
the heyday of the mall.
I mean, it was in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
So,
you got your fountains, right? And, they had the coins in the fountains, the glass elevators.
Yeah.
Right? And so then finally it's Detective John Kimball, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's obviously looking for somebody.
Yeah, and he's like standing there all scruffy, looking like a cop.
Yeah, no, he's got the he's got the beard down for sure.
Got the scruffy beard going. Got the sunglasses.
And he starts following this dude, and
yeah, and
the guy, he's kind of he's well, I say well dressed, but I'm sorry, his suit sucks. It's dated.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got the greasy hair, right?
Yeah.
He gives off vibes of not a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he puts off vibes that he's going to try to kidnap a 5-year-old later.
Not just kidnap a 5-year-old later. I'm going to set fire to a school.
That too.
I'm not just going to commit arson. It's going to be a school while it's in session. Hey, we said there'd be spoilers. We're spoiling the movie.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that was his plan from the start because, he had a little thing of lighter fluid with him.
Yes.
You don't carry around a little bottle of lighter fluid unless you plan on burning something.
He's going to pretend like he's, going, on a tour of the school. He meets the principal and he's going to, but he has to have his lighter fluid just in case someone wants to start a grill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
no, 6th grade.
He probably has a bunch of hot dogs in his other pocket. Hot dogs and burger patties.
Oh my goodness!
But we'll get to all that.
I just saw this on Wikipedia as I was turning back to the page, and apparently Bill Murray and Patrick Swayze were initially approached to play the role of Kimball.
I could see Swayze doing it. To play the role as Kimball?
Yes.
Huh. Because I could see Swayze doing either Kimball or Crisp.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I could see Crisp also, yeah. And apparently Elijah Wood auditioned for a role, but did not get it.
Huh.
But
they must not have seen him in Back to the Future 2.
No.
And the great job that he did.
Is apparently
it's like a baby's toy.
They also considered Danny DeVito for Kimball.
Which makes sense because, I mean, he's indecipherable from Arnold.
They're twins.
They're twins, yeah.
Unfortunately, Ivan Reitman nixed that idea. That gives the movie a whole other vibe. Like, I get it. Like, Danny DeVito's funny looking, so you make him a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
The concept works better with Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so this guy, right? His name is Cullen Crisp. He's played by Richard Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't have a whole lot of other well-known roles. Previously, 3 O'Clock High, and then Two Moon Junction. Excuse me, Two Moon Junction. But yeah, doesn't really have a whole lot of notoriety. A lot of notable roles.
Yeah,
I guess the Farrelly brothers cast him in a couple movies: Kingpin and Something About Mary, and Me, Myself, and Irene. In some small roles, but anyway.
But nothing really real major.
No.
I mean, of those, probably There's Something About Mary is probably the most well known.
Yes. So, anyhow. And he goes, you see him, he slips by kind of like the, not really an emergency exit. You could use it as an emergency exit, but, it goes back to, the inner workings of the mall, right? So, where the trash area is and kind of
back in the behind
all
the
the mechanical areas, right? The guts, so to speak. And, and it's kind of like a labyrinth back there. Like it's a large area.
Yeah.
And so like Kimball kind of gets lost as he's trying to kind of like look for him, right? So eventually this guy, right? Cullen Crisp, he there's while he's walking through, we see this other there's this couple, this young man and woman there, Danny and Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny's like, Cindy's like, oh, you gotta make sure you're asking for more money, right? You gotta ask for at least $1,000, right? And he's trying to quiet her down, and she kind of hides. He doesn't really want Crisp to see the two of them together.
Yeah.
Right.
So Danny is Tom Kurlander.
Yes, he was in Young Guns too.
And then Cindy is played by Alex Koromze.
Yes. And I see one of her other roles was in a movie called Night Watch. But what else was she in? I don't know the name. Mimic 2. Mimic. Children of the Corn. Isaac's Return. So. Oh, The Haunting. I know The Haunting. Oh, yes. I know who she is in The Haunting. Okay. Spoiler alert for The Haunting. But if you haven't seen that, it's funny.
There's a haunting in it? Something's haunted?
Catherine Zeta-Jones is haunted in this movie. No, Owen Wilson's in the movie, and it's funny because there's this giant kind of like lion in the flue of this giant fireplace that decapitates Owen Wilson, and it's a funny death sequence in a movie that's really quite not good.
Yeah,
but it was at a time when Owen Wilson died in like every movie he was in. Yeah. Armageddon, Anaconda.
Yeah, it's probably not a movie we're going to be doing on here, but we might because we have said that we're going to be doing some bad movies too.
Maybe we do Anaconda.
I could see that happening.
They're doing like a remake, a reboot with Paul Rudd. Yep. Come on. So anyway, back to Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, so Crisp is on his way back to meet with Danny. And he does not know that Cindy's there.
No.
So he gets to Danny, and they're, talking a little bit. And was it Danny that pulled the drugs out of his pocket, or did Crisp pull the drugs out of Danny's pocket?
I think it was Crisp.
Yeah.
But so essentially Crisp, he deals drugs, right? And Danny is someone that is like a runner.
Yeah. No, Crisp does more than just deal drugs.
Yes.
Crisp is more of like a drug kingpin kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Right. Yeah. No, he's one of the top guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Danny was saying that he was running for this other guy, I guess, kind of within the organization. And he said, I ran into your wife in a nice small town.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just like, how's she look? It's like, she looks good. And it's like, the boy? He's like, yeah, he looks good. He looks healthy. That's a nice school.
Mm-hmm.
And, then, I guess that's, yes, then he kind of just like, yes, for some money about it. And Chris is more interested and it's like, does anybody else know about this?
And he's like, no.
Which, if you hear that line, you're dead.
Yeah. No matter what you say, you're dead.
And so he turns around and he shoots Danny in the chest 2 times. Mm-hmm. Which I always think is interesting that he just shoots him. Like, there's nothing really incriminating about what he knows.
No, there's not.
So I've always wondered about his angle on killing him.
I guess so. Danny knows where Crisp's ex-wife and son are.
Yes.
So he could go to the cops, tell them that's where Crisp is going.
Yes, that's what it is. Or if he gets arrested, he could be like, hey,
I can give you Crisp.
I know where his wife and there we go. Yes, we piece it together. So
So he kills Danny, and Cindy gets scared and runs away, and Crisp sees her running.
And like at first she tries to like keep it in, but yeah, she runs away, and then he can't really do anything about it, so he walks off, and like she runs into Kimball, Arnold, right?
Detective John Kimball.
But then she keeps like going off after that, right? No, she doesn't. He brings her back to Danny's body, and handcuffs her to him, so she won't go away because she's a witness.
Yeah.
And as we'll find out shortly, he's been hunting down Crisp for a long time.
Yeah,
like it's his special project.
Yeah,
is culling Crisp. But Christmas goes back out in the mall like nothing else has happened.
And we also get in this where like mall security comes and tries to take Arnold into custody.
Well, in a minute, because Cullen goes back.
That's right, because he's running around with his gun.
And Cullen goes into this beauty salon where his mother is getting her hair done.
His mother,
and
played
his
by Carol
mom
Baker.
is Carol Baker. Yes. Excuse me. Sorry. And she's criticizing the stylist. Stylist. Did you tell Picasso he can't have a brush?
All I care about is, are you happy with your haircut?
It's some kind of thing. You should really listen to our episode on The Rock. The hairstylist in that is one of our favorite minor characters in any action.
Anything.
So yeah, she's just berating, the stylist, and and Cullen comes in, and he's just like, "Mom, I got good news. I found Junior.
I found Junior."
She's like, and then she stops berating. I was like, "Oh, really? Where?" And he's like, "He's in Oregon,
Astoria, Oregon."
And that's when Arnold comes in, or Kimball comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has his gun, and everyone in there is, shocked and surprised, and they all put their hands up. Classic scene.
Yep. And mall security comes in, and
they're armed.
They're armed. Yes, armed mall security. There's no Paul Blart here.
No.
Yeah, so they come in and they disrupt his trying to arrest Crisp. And then you get the classic,
I'm just here
line,
trying to get a manicure.
Yeah. And you get Arnold with, "I'm a cop, you idiot."
And he's got his badge. It's like, "Oh, we'll see about that."
Yeah.
They check it out, and then
it's already too late.
Crisp
is gone.
Yep. Chris is just kind of playing with him, and anyway, so, but then it cuts to the station, and you have Arnold. It's the interrogation room. I was thinking about this watching it. Is like the 80s and 90s loved having the interrogation room and seeing both sides of the mirror.
Yeah.
Right? You don't see it as often anymore, it feels like in movies.
You really don't.
But the 80s and 90s, there's a classic kind of setup for not just like movies, like TV shows as well. If there was if it involved cops.
Yep.
Right? So, like we mentioned The Rock, just a few minutes ago, and The Rock
that has a very memorable scene there.
So, but Arnold's actually on the other side, right? And he's got like his captain there, and the other side you have Cindy, and there's this woman cop, Detective Phoebe O'Hara, played by Pamela Reed, right? And she's trying to get her to say to testify against Crisp, saying that since she witnessed
since she witnessed the murder of Danny.
What's interesting, I thought about this. I was thinking about this too. Is like, I'd wonder if there would be like what type of other security does this mall have? Like, what cameras does it have, like, in all those corridors, right?
Yeah, I mean,
now of course Chris would be kind of smart to do any type of deal like that away from the camera.
Yeah,
right?
I mean this was 1990, so I mean, sure there were probably some cameras up, but not nearly as many as there would be now.
Most of them probably would have been near like the entrances of the mall.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah. So, but yeah. So, and then, Cindy doesn't want to play, and then you get again classic scene from cop movies at the time. You get some one person, shouting at the mirror, right? It's like, I know you're in there. I know what you want, but you're not getting it. So, it leaves off, and then finally the captain kind of introduces Phoebe and Kimball, right? But they've never met each other. So, and Phoebe is played by Pamela Reed.
It's crazy that these two characters never met each other before this, because the rest of the movie, it's like they've known each other for years.
Oh yeah,
the two of them have great chemistry.
Yes, they do. No, they feel like they fit really together as partners.
Yeah,
in terms of detectives. But Pamela Reed was also in the TV series Jericho, Parks and Rec, and then she was also in Bean. Along with the Right Stuff, Junior, another Arnold movie, right? And Junior was that Reitman? Yeah, it was also Reitman. I don't think I realized how often Reitman used many of the same actors and craftspeople.
I mean, it makes sense because a lot of directors have their
they have their set people. They do. So, and so they meet there, and obviously, Arnold's like, no, like I can get her, like I'm not gonna settle for her just slipping off. Like I had him, right? I could, and he's gonna get away. I can't let him get away. And so he comes up with this plan of getting Cindy to actually, ID Crisp.
Yep.
And then testify against him. So, he goes down to kind of the seedy district in the city.
To a dope club.
Yeah.
A dope party. Now, yeah, I mean, there's people, the extras in here, the different, like, very, very, like, super minor characters. We have dope party shooter, dope party guest, dope party bouncer, dope party guest again. Does that mean that it's like a party with drugs, or it's just a dope party?
Hey, at that time, dope was slang. It was slang for it was dope.
Exactly. It was great.
That was real dope. Was the dope.
But anyway, so Arnold walks in, get another classic Arnold line.
Well, I like, and before he even walks in, people are looking at him. It's like, who's this white dude? Right? They can tell he doesn't quite fit in. And then there's one guy that wants to kind of fight him a little bit, and he just pushes him off.
Yeah.
And then then he locks his car, and he gets out his gun. And he's like, oh, I forgot to introduce myself.
I'm the party pooper.
It's like, and I love my car, right?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, I'm gonna take real good care of it. And so then he gets in, and there's these guys that aren't gonna let him in. And he just, the guy is, it's like a chain link fence, to get into the dope party, and he kicks it, and knocks the guy over, and all of a sudden some people are just wanting to leave, other people trying to, there's a couple that want to put up a fight. But and meanwhile he's shooting at like some of the boom boxes that are in there, and then and another guy, and yeah, that's what the guy's like, who are you? He's like, I'm the party pooper.
And then so he's going through this party, and he sees Cindy sitting on a couch, and so he sits down next to her, and he starts talking to her.
I like you, Cindy.
She doesn't want anything to do with him. He's like, I like you, Cindy. I'm going to be with you a lot. Days, nights, weekends, holidays. And then it's like, no, you can't. He's like, yes, I can. I'm going to hang out with you until the end of time.
I like before he gets into that line, right? So, as most of the he's like, everyone go home. Next time, my place.
Next time, my place.
and then finally, like, he sits down next to Cindy. He's like, she's like, what are you doing here, asshole? Cindy, I don't like you using foul language.
Using foul language.
And then so he goes through all that again, like he was just saying, and she decides she has no choice but to go with him. And so the next thing, you got the other classic scene of the lineup.
Yep.
And she positively IDs
Crisp.
And and Kimball's like, excellent, right?
So they take Crisp into custody.
His lawyer there, right? So the lawyer says, he'll take care of it. His mother's in the courtroom, and he whispers to her, he's like, you know what to do. Right? Mm-hmm. He's like, I'll take care of it. I'm your mother, aren't I? Why are always these criminals kind of have this weird like Oedipal like relationship with their mother?
I don't know, but this woman, so Carol Baker in this movie, Eleanor Crisp,
she's terrific. She is terrific.
She is terrific in this. But she reminds me of I can't think of the character's name right now, but the mother of the bad guys in Goonies.
Yes. As we said earlier, also in Astoria.
Yes, also in Astoria.
Yeah, that's good. I don't think I've ever connected that before. I like that connection.
But she has sort of an Oedipal relationship with her sons also. Robert Davi and Joey Pants.
That was a little bit more overt. But Joey Pants, I love that. Joey Pants. I can't wait until we do the Matrix.
Yes.
Right. So now, before they take him back to his cell, right? There's a little holding room, and Kimball and Chris have a brief conversation. Is like, we can tell the judge, and he'll go a little more lenient on your sentencing if you tell me about all your suppliers and your distributors, right? And of course, he's not going to budge on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, the jury's not going to convict me on a testimony of a junkie, right? And then he says, like, oh yes, but what about your wife and all your drug money she stole from you, right? It's like, she would make a great witness. Right? And so now we have the setup for the movie, right? So, I like to see where he tries to play with him, but like he don't ruffle Arnold's feathers. He doesn't get ruffled. He's like, you know what? I'm going to get out of here, and in a week, you'll be back in the apartment that you live by yourself, eating Chinese takeout, and I'll be out of here. And um, and without me, you don't even have a life. Your old lady left you because of money, right? And she couldn't. My old lady left me because of the money. Yours couldn't stand you.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I know all about you. Right? But I'm sorry. You don't refer Arnold.
No.
It's like Arnold, Bruce, Chuck. No. You don't get under their skin.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
They ride. They do. They ride you down a flight of stairs like you're a sled.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what they do.
Or they roundhouse kick your head off.
They leave you for dead next to a urinal.
Yeah. Yeah.
A kid's urinal at that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so now you have the setup. So right, we cut and you have Phoebe talking with Kimball, and the whole plot setup now is like they know where his wife lives, Astoria. Yes. So they're going to try to locate. They don't know much about her, who she is, right? Or what the son. They have one picture of the son, right? They know her basic biographical background, but they're not going to be able. They realize that she's probably changed her name, right?
Yeah, and so, I mean they have a couple of pictures of her, but they're from years ago.
But she's younger. Yeah. So the plan is for the two of them to get on to an airplane, fly to Astoria, locate them, and then get her to sing, essentially, right?
Yep.
And I like the scene, when the next scene, she's getting a sandwich out of one of the vending machines, right? And she's hypoglycemic, right? Kind of like our friend in Die Hard.
Yes. Good old Uli. Uli, the hypoglycemic terrorist, bank robber, whatever. Thief.
Yes. Right. So they're on the plane. It's Alaska Airlines. And they're flying. And, poor Arnold. There's these boys behind them.
Yeah. And they keep on kicking the back of his seat. One was playing with the truck on the back of on the top of Arnold's seat right behind his head. So he grabs the truck. He takes it from the kid. Then Phoebe gives it back.
Passes it back.
And then the kid right behind him.
I don't realize this. So Arnold, he's sitting the aisle seat, right? Which it makes sense. He's a big guy. He needs a little bit more leg room. The aisle seat helps provide, right? And the kid that's behind him, it's a three to a row, right?
Yeah.
So there's three kids behind them. The kid that's in the aisle seat he's got a magazine. He's got a dirty magazine.
Yeah. Yeah. He takes it from the other kid. He takes it from the kid that's next to him. He's like, "Let me see it."
And so that's the final straw. And so Arnold turns around. He looks at the kid.
Yeah, because when he pulls the magazine from the other kid, that we would assume is his brother, but maybe
a cousin,
But yeah, when he yanks the magazine from his hands, he just bumps the back of Arnold's chair really hard. So yeah, that's the last straw. Arnold turns around. He's got a pencil in his hand. He turns around and he tells the kid, "If you don't stop that, this is what I'm going to do to you." He just snaps the pencil in half with his thumb.
The kid's eyes just get real big.
And he just sits back in his seat, completely still.
That was enough. I don't think he bothers him again.
I don't think so either.
And so they're continuing to talk, and all of a sudden, Phoebe's like, "Oh no, I gotta get out of here." It's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, right? It's like, I'm gonna throw up. And so she hurriedly, and right now they're eating they got their trays down, and they have they just received like their meal on the plane, right? And so, he takes a tray. She gets up, and she races to the bathroom. And the stewardess comes up. It's like, "Is your wife okay, sir?" It's like, compared to what? Now, what's interesting? This is another small role before she became famous.
Mm-hmm.
But this stewardess is none other than Angela Bassett.
Yes, it is.
So, one very small role, one line, small role. What I looked it up, maybe I had to look it up again very quickly. Angela Bassett. It's Angela Baby, not Angela Bassett. Was this her first role? At least film role, I should say. No, it's her second film role. Her first film role was a few years earlier in a movie called FX. So that was her actual film debut with Brian Dennehy and Diane Venora, Jerry Orbach. Anyway, so Angela Bassett has a quick role in this, and then it's not until really the next couple of years before she starts gaining notoriety for movies like Boys in the Hood and Malcolm X, and Strange Days. Anyway, they
went over the plan before getting on the plane, right?
Yeah. So they go. We got to know each other. We're going to be here, and so they're going to have to pose as kind of like husband and wife, right? While she's going to be a kindergarten teacher because she used to be a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah. So she and they know that Chris' son is going to be about kindergarten age, right? 5 or 6 years old. So he should be in kindergarten.
Right.
And the story is a small.
He's a baby. And it's in the car seat. It looks like an 80s car seat.
Yeah. And so Astoria is not a big town.
No.
So there's really only one elementary school around there.
Yeah. So they know that he'll have to be in that kindergarten class.
Yeah.
Because they know the approximate age. So.
Yeah. So she's going to pose as the kindergarten teacher, as a substitute kindergarten teacher for his class, and then they'll go from there and figure out which kid it is, and who his mother is, and
he's gonna try to figure out, find the mother and find the cash.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're gonna say and then Chris can spend the rest of his life making license plates.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very easy setup. Makes sense. They've I want to know about this. We'll get to the scene, into it later, but they said she's going to be in kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
So we find out the principal's kind of left in the dark about that. They just said that they're having a cop come in undercover as a kindergarten teacher.
Yes.
What did they tell that kindergarten teacher?
That is a good question.
I mean, I'm assuming she's getting full pay.
Now, didn't they say somewhere that the kindergarten teacher was like in the hospital or something like that?
Well, that's the story they give the kids.
Yeah. Huh.
Anyway, not that.
Maybe they just gave her, a few weeks off.
Anyway. So, by the way, so they gave some of the biographical sketch on her. Her name's Rachel, is her actual name.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's from Hannibal, Missouri, which is also where Mark Twain is from. And she played violin in high school.
Yeah, we never see a violin in this movie.
No.
Her
ambition was to travel, experience life, and meet interesting people. I guess they got a hold of her yearbook.
I guess so.
She said, I'm going to travel.
I guess
I'm going to meet interesting people.
I guess so.
I didn't write anything like that in my yearbook. I was not
interested
in writing anything like that in my yearbook.
Yeah, me neither.
We were uninteresting high schoolers, weren't we?
Yes, we were very uninteresting high schoolers.
We did dance. We danced.
Yes.
Our version of dances.
We danced incredibly well.
Hey, we were in Driscoll's class. That was that was as interesting as things could get in high school as being in Driscoll's class.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
So, yeah. Oh, that's right. And that's the other thing is like, the other, I mean, this would be a key piece of information to try to get, but both of her parents are dead, right? So the two connections would be the kid and Crisp. And obviously Crisp has no idea also.
Yeah.
Right. And they named him Cullen Crisp Jr. So junior and senior. Yeah. So, which we kind of alluded to earlier. It's like I found Junior. So.
Yeah, but
right.
I figure both mother and son are going to have different names now. So they can't go by those names.
So anyway, so she vomits. So the next thing is like, they get to Oregon and like, obviously, they're driving. If you're not familiar with the geography of Astoria, right? You got Portland. I think, most people probably know Portland as the big city in Oregon. It's towards the western side of the state, but it's not on the coast. More towards the coast on the Columbia River is the town of Astoria. So you would have to fly into Portland and drive west to get to Astoria. And obviously you got to get a rental car once you get to the airport, right?
Yep.
And so they had the rental car. And they're driving around and she's like, maybe it was the chicken salad. Maybe it was the deviled eggs. Right.
She's just listing off
everything she ate.
All the stuff that she ate.
And it's like it couldn't have been the donuts.
It couldn't have been the donuts.
And then finally he's like, she's like, I hate feeling like this. It's like, I hate it too. And she's like, uh-oh. It's like, uh-oh, what? They pull into that gas station.
She runs inside.
It's locked. She has to run into the little store and comes out the key. It's got this giant. Yeah. She gets in. She tosses it like a frisbee. And then, they keep going on, and occasionally she's got to stop again, and she throws up. And this is where you you tell he's like kind of asks to help, and she waves him off, and finally it's like nighttime, and it's like probably the fourth or fifth time they've stopped, and it's raining. He's holding her. She's peeking over like a bridge, right? And he kind of picks her up, so she doesn't get wet, right? And carries her.
Such a nurturing partner.
He's and this is when we discover that John Kimball actually does have he's actually has a badass with the heart of gold.
Yep. They get back in the car and they're driving again, and there's a little rodent in the car that scares Phoebe. It's like, what's that? And Arnold and Kimball's like,
he's talking about his son at the time.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I have a son. Like he's actually
saying
about himself, and it's like, yeah, what's that?
Like, this is my ferret.
I like how it's taken this long for her to discover that he has a ferret,
especially since they flew there. Yes. What did he do with the ferret? Did he check it? Because it wasn't sitting with him in the seat.
Right. I don't think it was in the overhead compartment.
And then when they get to their hotel, we never see the ferret in the hotel room.
No. Eventually it just lives in the classroom.
Yeah.
We don't, at first, yeah.
So.
And they've been in the car for probably like several hours.
Yeah, but did it come with the car? Did it come with the car? Because before this scene, there's no mention of Kimball having a ferret. But he He just happens to have brought it along in his undercover mission.
Hey, he went to Avis, and if you upgrade, they give you a free aquatic mammal.
A free amphibious mammal.
And
a marmot.
It's like, they're not legal in city limits. What are you, a fucking park ranger? Let's start a Big Lebowski episode.
So anyway,
I'm surprised we've gone a while without like tying Big Lebowski back into it.
It was like 3 episodes ago, dude.
Was it? Anyway, they get to the little roadside motel, and I always love, like, we was it Dumb and Dumber a couple months back. There's a phone booth outside a motel.
Yep.
But back then, like, you had phone booths outside motels.
Yeah.
Right. And anyway, so it fades in the morning, and it's just Phoebe, and her face is just smothered under the bed. She's like, I'm gonna make it. Right? It's just give me a few more minutes.
And Kimball's already dressed. He's putting on his jacket. He's already decided he's going to take over for her.
Yeah, right. I mean, so someone has to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously she's not in any shape to do it. And they got to keep the cover.
Yeah. And so she looks at him, and he asks her how he looks. And she kind of cocks her head a little bit. She's like, lose the gun.
And then he's like, and finally he's like, they're the kindergartners. How bad could it be?
Yeah. So, he starts to take off his jacket, and he's got a shoulder holster, and he has to take off the gun. The kindergartners. How bad could they be? He's like, on second thought, keep the gun.
And then so she says, as they're driving, also, like, she says about why she kind of quit teaching. Excuse me. So, I got sick of other people's kids, and I was afraid that I never want to have any because I was so sick of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he gets to the school. Like, this nice sunny day, and everyone's getting to school. We got school buses and everything, and
yep.
They're in the office. I love it. There's like a lineup of kids, and then there's Arnold, right?
All just sitting in the chairs outside the principal's office.
And then we have one of the teachers come in, Penelope Ann Miller. We find out shortly that her name is Joyce. Goes up to this boy. She's like, Matthew, I sent you to the principal's office because you punched Jenny. And he starts trying to explain himself. It's like, I know she poisoned your hamsters.
Hamsters, plural. Which begs the question, was it all the same poisoning? Or was this like multiple instances of poisoning his hamsters?
Separate incidents. Do you have any?
Yeah.
So I love, like, Arnold. He kind of looks over, and he's like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
You got kids poisoning other people's rodents.
It's like, I'm not putting my ferret anywhere near these kids.
I was like, she told me all about it, and she said she was very sorry. And I'm sorry I didn't believe you. And then she's like, but you shouldn't punch people. Hey, this is foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's going to be someone punching later.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
There's going to be some punching later.
What I want to know is, okay, I get steadying the boy, right? Because he punched Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, Jenny poisoned animals.
Poisoned his hamsters.
Shouldn't that also require us speaking with the principal?
Yeah.
Or if this happened off school property, speaking with her parents, like, hey, your daughter is poisoning animals.
Yeah.
That's like the early signs of like a sociopathic serial killer.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Harming animals as a child.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway. And so then finally, like the secretary there's like, oh, Mr. Kimball, Miss Schlowski will see you now. Right? And she makes eye contact with Kimball as they leave, and she sees, I was like, you're Arnold Schwarzenegger. I got my eye on you.
Yep.
Right?
He's like, who's this big hunk of man? So,
and then she walks in, and it's Linda Hunt.
It's Linda Hunt, little 4'9" Linda Hunt.
And she's kind of exasperated with the situation. It's like, I had to give up my kindergarten teacher. He's been here for years. He's one of the best teachers I have.
And all they've told me is that a police officer needs to go undercover as a kindergarten teacher. They haven't given me any other details.
Right? It's like all I need to do is tell my parents that there's a cop undercover here and they're pulling them out of my school.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, I assume you have experience. He's like, they wouldn't have sent me if I didn't. Hey, he probably taught a trainee, or a new cop.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he's got a kid. So
anyway, so she walks down to the class. She opens the door, and and
the kids are all going crazy. They're
going crazy, and then she does a little thing, and obviously the principal's in there. Once they realize she's there, they straighten up real quick, and they're like, "Good morning, Miss Schlowski." And she gives the thing like, "Oh yeah, Miss Kimball, so-and-so had to go away, but this is Mr. Kimball." And they're like, "I want you to say, good morning, Mr. Kimball."
Good morning, Mr. Kimball.
And then I like how the one kid's like, it's like, she had to go away. Like, it was Lowell. It's like, did she die?
Yeah. Did she die?
No, Lowell. She had to go see someone. Did they die?
Did they die? Yeah.
Like, no. Everyone dies,
I know.
It's like, yes, Lowell, but not for a long time.
Lola's obsessed with death.
Hey, there's always that one kid. There's one in every class.
And then Miko Hughes raises his hand.
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
She says, like, they're right. All yours. I'll be watching you. Right? And then he just says, like, yeah, I'm happy to be here. I want to get to know you. And he sits down on the piano.
Yes, that's right, on the piano.
Right?
And all the kids are laughing.
They all laugh. Right? And then before he says that, he asks another question. But yeah, eventually then,
little Joseph.
Miko Hughes
comes
raises
running,
his hand. He's like, yes. He's like,
he stands up. He's like, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. Arnold just like gives this blank stare. He's like, thanks for the tip.
Forgot that. Thanks for the tip. That's awesome.
So yeah,
right.
Miko Hughes. I never really realized until today.
Mrs. Hagley.
Yes, Mrs. Hagley. Yeah. See, I never realized that Miko Hughes' character's name was Joseph until today.
Yes.
Because we always just referred to him as Penis Vagina Kid.
Oh, wait. So yeah, before Miko Hughes or Joseph answers that, it's like, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Yes,
right? It's like, how many were born in Astoria? And they all raise their hands.
How many were born somewhere far away, like California? And then they all raise their hands again.
All raise their hands. Right? Oh, that's right. And then the little girl says, I have to go to the bathroom. And that's when little Joseph raises his hand.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Like, that's right.
That's when Joseph raises his hand. Yeah. But yeah, so he tells this little girl,
and then so he puts her in the hallway, and then
he sends her to the hallway, and then she Emma is her name.
Emma.
But yeah, she's
having trouble because she's in overalls, little pink overalls.
Yeah,
and she can't get the things undone.
She's like, I had to go to the bathroom. I can't get these things off. So he reaches down. He tries to fumble with the clasps on her overalls, and he can't figure it out. So he's like,
wait right here.
Wait right here. I'll be right back. He goes out and across, down the hall a little bit on the other side of the hall. There is Joyce's class.
It looks like she teaches like 4th or 5th grade.
Mm-hmm. And so he taps on the window, gets her attention, and she comes out.
She's reading something like it looks like she's doing like a grammar lesson.
Yeah. And so she, hands it to one of the students and, has her take over for her for a minute. And she comes out to join Kimball in the hall. And what is it? Before Kimball can tell her what's going on, then Emma comes walking out. It's like, I have to go real bad.
It's just crossing her legs.
And so then Joyce,
help her.
Joyce gets the picture.
But so anyway, so the actress, by the way, Emma, is Sarah Rose Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Who's also well known for her role in the Beethoven movies.
Yes.
So she's walking her down to the bathroom, and she's like, and she tells Kimball, kindergarten's like the ocean. You can't turn your back on it.
Can't turn your back on it. He's like, oh, it'll be fine. And he goes and looks through the window on the door, and all the kids are going crazy again. I love it. One of these kids is dancing with a big inflatable dinosaur.
That kid's the best. That's our type of kid right there.
Yes.
We'd be hanging out with that kid. We'd be on there with him, the dinosaur, doing the sprinkler.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the watermelon smash.
Doing the martinis.
You got kids, they're painting on the blackboard.
Yep.
There's a kid in a wagon that's getting pulled, just screaming.
There's a kid, Sebastian, there's a bunch of girls standing up on a table, and Sebastian's going around looking up their skirts, holding a Barbie.
When he's 5.
Yeah.
That comes into play later. Anyway. Miss Schlosky, she's coming by and she sees it, and the secretary that's there, the other administrator's like, aren't you going to put a stop to it? It's like, no. After 3 days of this, he's gonna beg his way out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's just gonna let it go.
Yeah, so he goes in there and he just starts yelling. He just gets fed up. He's like, shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! And all the kids, they all freeze and they just start crying.
It's like, no, don't do this.
So he doesn't know what to do. So
he runs out.
Yeah, he just leaves the class. He runs outside, runs to his car.
Well, first he yells, he screams like, ah!
Yeah, that's right. He runs outside and screams. He just does a primal scream outside.
And then he goes to the car.
And then goes to his car, opens the door, and comes back in with the ferret. Meaning
the ferret was still in the car.
He keeps the ferret in the car. He just keeps the ferret in the car.
He goes,
I didn't see any windows rolled up or rolled down. I mean, I didn't see any windows rolled down.
No. And then have a sunroof.
Which does the ferret just live in the car? Did it come with the rental car?
I don't know. But he gets in, and now they're actually kind of playing nicely and quietly.
Yeah, because he walks in and he pulls the ferret out, and one of the kids is like, "What happened to your dog?"
He's like, "This is your new class mascot." Saying it's not a dog, it's a ferret.
This isn't a dog. This is a ferret.
And they're like, "What's a ferret?" "That's a ferret."
That's a ferret.
And then the one's like, "He bites you, you'll get rabies and you'll die." He's like, "No, that's not true." He never bites. And they're like, "Can I pet him?" They're like, "Yeah, but one at a time." And they all come in and they pet him one at a time.
No, they start to pet him one at a time. Then everybody tries to pet him at the same time.
That's true. But then he's like, "Good." And finally he's like, "Good. Now we're having fun." And then it cuts to the end of the day. They all leave. And he's just sitting on a little chair. And you can tell he's had the longest day of his life. And there's a little boy there that comes back. Dominic. Right? Played by twins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the
it's
cousins.
Played by Joseph and Christian Cousins.
Right. I love how he just says, like, "Mrs. Hagley's a lot better than you."
Yeah.
Right?
He's like,
"Is she?" He's like, "Yeah, my mom's a teacher in this school. She's better than you, too." "And Mrs. Quinn takes care of me. She's better than you, too. And Frankie, my swimming teacher. And Gus, my t-ball coach." He's helping him clean up the room.
Yeah, he's
being a very nice kid.
He's being a very helpful kid, but he's just telling him
honest.
that everybody else is better than him. And he's like, "Well, do you know anybody who's not better than me?" And the kid Dominic is like, "Well, I don't know too many people."
There are some really brilliant lines in this
movie. Yes, there are.
And this is a line that you would feel like a kid would absolutely deliver it. Yes. And he delivers it so naturally, too, at the same time. It's anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he gets back to the motel and,
he just collapses on the bed. I guess
that room's kind of like a suite. Like, they have separate bedrooms.
Yeah.
Right? And he falls down on his bed.
He just collapses on his bed.
She hears it. She's been falling asleep, and she's got guns and ammo. She's been reading.
So she gets up and stumbles into his room. She's like, "How'd it go?"
That bad? They're terrible. It's like, "You do it tomorrow." It's like, "No." And blow the cover. You got to go back. And then it's the next morning, you have all the, get the parents, the moms, they're out there talking to us. It's like, what kind of man teaches kindergarten?
What kind of man teaches kindergarten?
A gay one.
Just these three moms. And then, then one of the kids comes running up and is like, Mom, that's him.
Hey, that's a new kindergarten teacher?
And then one of that kid's mom turns around and she's like hiding her face. And the other two moms are like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I don't want her to see me without my makeup."
It's like, we're all without makeup. It's like, but you're married. You're supposed to look bad.
Which that one was that was Joshua's mother, played by Heidi Swedberg, who was also Justin Long's mother in Galaxy Quest.
Yes. She's also George Costanza's fiancée in Seinfeld.
That too.
Oh, and She was also in Murder, She Wrote.
There are so many people that we talk about on this show that were in Murder, She Wrote.
She was also in Matlock. And also Touched by an Angel.
Just a lot of Touched by an Angel people in this that we talk about on the show, too.
Like there's 3 TV series that we hit.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Who, Murder, She Wrote,
and Touched by an Angel.
Touched by an Angel.
Yep.
And she was in 2 of them.
Yep.
She's Hawaiian. Yep. Well, she's not Hawaiian. She was born in Hawaii, but she's definitely not like Hawaiian.
Doctor Who's still going on, so maybe she can get the hat trick.
Is that like an EGOT? I don't know what we call that. What DBT debit? I don't know. It's so. So I think who the other 2 lady, I can't remember, but yeah, that was the one I had listed earlier. Was Heidi Swedberg is Josh's mother for that. So then he he gets in the classroom, and then another mom comes in. Jillian, who is what? That's Sylvester's mom, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm worried about him."
Yeah, played by Kathy Moriarty.
It's like, he's obsessed with dolls.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh,
yeah." He's like, "I can help you with that." He uses the dolls to look up girls' skirts.
And you see this huge sigh of relief come off of her. She's like,
that's relief.
He's not gay.
Then he starts talking about her ex-husband.
But now he's prodding for information, right? Because like, okay, single.
Yep.
No dad in the picture, right?
Okay.
It's like, oh well, how about let me talk to his dad? I can, help. I'd love to help. It's like, oh well, no, he left me for another man. Crosses that name off the list.
Yep.
Which is also why she's probably concerned about her son.
Yep.
So. Right? And so it cuts to the day, and they're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, right? I pledge allegiance. Whatever.
Goes down to the one girl, and she's just like making weird faces, moving her mouth around. There's always, I don't know how they manage it, but like there's a really fat girl, there's a really fat boy. Because after that, they cut to the really fat boy eating everybody's lunches. Because everybody's off doing their thing. They're all playing different places. And this little fat kid is, he's got everybody's lunch boxes open. And he's just eating. He's just sitting there eating away. And Arnold walks up to him and picks him up. And he's like, "Are these all your lunches?" And the kid, he's got a mouthful of Cheetos. And the kid shakes his head. He's like, and so he's like shaking the kid. He's like, "So you mean you eat other kids' lunches?" And the kid nods his head. And he shakes him and he's like, "Stop it." He shakes a kindergartner. "Stop it."
He spits all the Cheetos out of his mouth.
He just opens his mouth and all these Cheetos fall out.
I forgot too when he's talking with Jillian. One of the other boys comes in the classroom. He's like, "Are you married, Mr. Kimball?"
That's right.
It's like, "No, I'm not." He just screams down the hall, "He's not married, Mom!"
That was Joshua. That was the one whose mother was outside.
Yeah, it's like,
embarrassed that she wasn't wearing makeup. Yeah, so
it's like, okay, we're gonna play a game.
You play a game. It's called "Who is My Daddy and What Does He Do?" And all the kids are like, is he a fireman? You're pretty big. Is he a basketball player?
It's like, he's probably a wrestler. he's like, and he just puts his head down. No.
You're gonna tell me about your parents. It's who's your daddy?
No, first he says, like, someone asked him, what's the matter? I have a headache.
Yeah, I have a headache.
Like, and then Lowell's like,
Lowell was like, it might be a tumor. It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all.
What I meant was, you tell me, who is your daddy?
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
And it's like, we'll start right here. And then they just start keeping like, it's like, okay, my dad repairs cars driven by women who are pinheads.
Yes, driven by women who are pinheads.
We get one, like, my dad doesn't do anything since the crash. And then the girl's like, my dad gives money to people that doesn't have money. And then people use that money, then they give other money back. And then they give the same amount of money back
to my dad.
And then we get to think, like, so Jillian tells him, like, yeah, welcome to the story of the single parent capital of the world, right? It's like, you get one kid's like, my dad doesn't live with us anymore. He lives in New York and drives a taxi. No, this is Lowell. Lowell says this. That's right. Yeah. My mom hopes he's going to die real soon.
Your mom hopes he's going to die real soon.
Which makes you wonder at that point. Okay, so he's listed all these things about death. It's like, is she saying, like, I hope your dad develops a brain tumor?
I don't know. I hope he gets bit by a ferret and gets rabies. I don't know. Maybe there's a ferret living in his cab.
Then, the little girl like Emma's like, my dad works on computers, and he's the boss of his company, and he has a mustache.
He has a mustache and a beard, and he doesn't have much hair, and he can't
because his head is so big.
He can't wear any hats. His head's so big, so he can't wear any hats. And then we have the twins. Our mom says that our dad's a real sex machine.
And he's like, he scribbles their names off, and they got ponytails, right? And they lean over, the ponytails fall down, right? And then you got one of the little boys like, my mom's divorced.
My dad's
divorced. He's real sad. Which makes sense. I get it. And then one's like, my dad is a psychologist, and he helps people that are hurt or lost their feelings.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yep. And then little Nico Hughes gets up there.
I think the next one is Dominic.
Oh yeah, Dominic.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
He lives in France.
I don't know what he does. He lives in France. And there's little Nico Hughes.
He's like, my dad's a gynecologist, and he looks at he stares at vaginas all day long.
Does his mom tell him that? Or does his dad tell him that? Or maybe he's an older sibling. It's like, you know what dad does? He stares at vaginas
all day long.
And then the Spanish girl, she just speaks Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Which she is played by Odette Annable, by the way, formerly Odette Eustman, who's been in various things throughout the years.
Oh yes, here she is. Yeah, well, she's in House, Cloverfield, Supergirl, right?
Mm-hmm.
October Road.
Unborn.
Let's see. Oh, Transformers. She was in Monk. But yeah, he's like, okay, I can cross her name off the list. Looking for a boy anyway.
Yeah. But.
And then finally, he's like, excuse me. There's one boy at the back, and he's playing with trucks on the table.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of got his back
what's
turned
his
to
name?
Everybody else.
And, Dominic's like, his name is Zach Sullivan.
Yeah, but then another kid's like, yeah, he's a poo-poo head. And another one's like, yeah, he's a poo-poo face. And another one's like, yeah, he's a caca poo-poo.
He's a poo-poo caca. And then they hear poo-poo caca like, poo-poo caca. And, and Arnold, or, Kimball goes over and he's like, oh, did daddy teach you this game?
Yeah. Because he's like crashing trucks.
Like, I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fire alarm goes off.
Yeah.
He's like, what's that? It's the fire alarm. And all the kids start screaming, like, yes, it's a fire alarm.
So they're all going crazy.
He's trying to drag them all out of the school.
And, then it shows an outside shot of the school. And all the other kids are like,
they're coming out orderly.
In lines. And they're all coming out there. And then comes the kindergarten class. Just running.
He's carrying a few of them in his arms. And the rest are running out. They're jumping up and down.
And then Linda Hunt is standing there with a stopwatch.
Oh, glad that kindergarten class can join us.
She's got a megaphone.
It's like, but that's 4 minutes. You should be ashamed of yourselves. And I was like, as for everybody else, your times are an improvement, but they're still not good enough. Right?
Yeah.
So, all right. She's like, I'm very disappointed. Let's get back into school.
And judging by what happens at the end of the movie, they should have run more drills.
No, it's important. It's foreshadowing. Yeah. There's always foreshadowing.
Yeah, but I mean, they should have run more drills, judging by what happens at the end of the movie.
They should have.
But
absolutely. So we see then at the end, at the end of the day, he sees Zach walking back to a car with his mom, and he's trying to get the attention, right? He's like, Mrs. Sullivan, right? But then she drives off before he could actually get there, right? And Zach's mom, by the way, is played by Jane Bruck. And she was on Chicago Hope, if anyone knows Chicago Hope.
My mom used to love that show.
Also, The District. I knew someone that loved The District. A movie we have not done, I don't think we will do, but she was also in Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Yeah.
So she was a JFK high school teacher in Quest for Peace. So most recently she was in Star Trek Discovery, though.
Okay.
Excuse me. So, right. So they leave off, and now he's back with Phoebe. They're downtown, and it's like, oh yeah, the doctor said it's just a stomach flu. Like, I can start eating whatever I want. I'm fine. It's like, I'm hungry. I want to eat again. Right. It's like, let's find a restaurant. So they go to this restaurant and they get behind Joyce and Dominic.
Yeah.
Right.
And it turns out that Joyce is Dominic's mother.
Yep. And he's like, Mr. Kimball. Right.
And so and he sees Phoebe. He's like, who's that? And before
before that, I guess he talks some business where he says, like, I have a few suspects right now, right? But it's like, no, what? Okay, that's fine. Let's eat first, and then we can discuss it after we eat.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, who's that? And then he doesn't know what to say at first. He's like,
Kimball he's fumbling over his words because he doesn't know what to say, because he clearly has a thing for Joyce, and he doesn't want her to think that he's out with a woman. That he's out with, a date. And so Phoebe cuts in, and she puts on this Austrian accent. She's like,
I am his sister.
I'm his sister Ursula.
Ursula. I love the name.
His sister Ursula.
She's good on her feet.
Yeah, she is.
Hey, she taught kindergarten. She has to be good on her feet.
Yes.
I am going to mention too, as we're saying, like, as they're talking business, At this time, he has 3 suspects, but I think the main one he has is Zach.
Yeah.
Because he thinks Zach is a dead ringer for Chris Sr.
Yes.
So, anyway. And so, but then, So, Joyce invites him to have dinner with them. And he's going to say no. And then, Phoebe's like, yeah, of course. And she kind of slaps him. It's like, a boy, a mother, no dad.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, and she's also thinking and she's got
and
the hot for you too.
She can see that there's a connection there. She can see that they
2 birds, 1 stone.
So they join them for dinner, and they're talking, and and then Phoebe's keeping up the charade. The whole meal, she's keeping that accent
and
going.
She's ordering everything off the menu.
Yeah.
And then the waitress, she puts her hand on the waitress. She's like, ooh, good arms. Right? She's staying in character very nicely, right?
So,
and then, so what? He shows everything off the menu, and then they start, they're talking together, and at this point, at some point, Dominic falls asleep, and so now they're taking time to get to know each other a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Joyce and Kimball are talking.
My dad was a teacher, my mom was a teacher, right? And then he says, and then. What was it? Oh yeah, they're just saying it's a small town, what was it? Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, he's just saying just telling Joyce I've been trying to get to know some of the parents, but it seems like they're avoiding me. It's like, well, some are like that. He's like, it's a strange town, especially with new arrivals. It's like I think a lot of people that come to small towns are trying to avoid something, right? And then it cuts to Phoebe. She's like,
yeah,
right. Detective hat is on. So, and then it's like, they're trying to get away or hiding. It's like, what? He's like, well, what brought you here? There was an opening for a kindergarten teacher. It's like, what made you want to be a kindergarten teacher?
Yeah.
And, he explains, about his whole thing. Like, well, I was born Austrian, family. And then he says, Ursula was a teacher. Right? And in Austria, we have a tradition. We follow in the footsteps of our parents. And he's like, and I said, the first thing he says, I taught geography and PE. But I wasn't fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right? I love how he's like, I coached basketball in Rhode Island. He's like, I got tired of teaching teenagers. Right? It's like the real action was in kindergarten. Which, there's action everywhere for teachers. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, it gets in the night, and
they say they
had a pleasant evening, and she's in her Geo Tracker.
Yep.
What a great car, Geo Tracker.
Yep.
Yeah, that definitely places it right in 1990.
Yes, it does. Geo Tracker, anything Geo.
So, right. So, I love Phoebe's like, Kimball, I think you scored.
Yeah. Yeah.
he's like, I'm only interested in her because she knows the parents.
Yeah. Sure you are.
It's like, come on, be honest. And it's like I know. It's like, yeah, I know you like that woman. And it's like, what's your problem? It's like I'm doing your job. Like, you should be cleaning up. And reading stories about bears. It's like, listen, we're gonna be out of here in a few days. We got good leads, and then guess what? You'll be out of that class. You'll be back to dealing with junkies and murderers, doing your regular job, right? And he's like, but they're pushing me around. He's opening up. She's like, who? The kids.
The kids.
He can handle the murderers.
Yes, he can handle the murderers.
The kindergartners.
People try to kill him, but the kindergartners are too much for him.
And then, she levels with us. Like, you got to handle this like any other police situation.
Mm-hmm.
Don't show fear.
Yep.
They'll eat you alive if you show fear. Right?
So that gives him an idea.
It's like, we're going to play a fun new game.
So he gets to the class the next day, and he's got his police whistle with him.
I'm going to play police school.
Yep. They're going to play policeman. And so, he's got his whistle, and he's, getting everybody's attention with it, and he gets them all to go to the to sit on the carpet. And then he says, when I blow the whistle, everybody go get a toy and bring it back here.
Well, even before that, it's like, we're gonna have new rules. Like, it's like, you lack discipline.
You lack discipline.
It's like, no longer wait for cushies.
No more.
There is no bathroom.
No more. Mr. Kimball have to go to the bathroom. There is no bathroom.
No, I'm like, no bathroom.
I mean, he's up there yelling at him like a drill instructor.
And it's like, he gives him the instruction about the whistle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, they're gonna blow it once. You're gonna go and get a toy.
And blow it twice. You come back and sit down. You bring the toy back to the carpet.
So he blows, and some kids they try to leave early. It's like he catches them, and he blows it, and they all run off. They get the toys, and they're going around, and Emma doesn't want to do it.
Emma is just sitting there dancing with a doll.
Please,
and so he goes over to her and he tells her to go get on the carpet. He's like, I'm not a policeman, I'm a princess. He's like, what? I'm not a policeman, I'm a princess.
What does he say? What does he say there? I can't remember what he says.
I can't remember what he says either.
There's no bathroom. There he is. Let's see. Oh, so finally he's like, take it back.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, all right. And then we at this point we get a little montage of where
he's whipping them into
shape, and they're marching through the school and they're doing all these PE drills and everything, and they have
a cadence going on, and it's like
of how to get the ferret in and out of his little home. I guess he no longer lives in the car.
Yeah. I mean, this is this is like right after the 80s, so of course there's a montage.
Right.
And they're practicing the fire drill and marching out at recess, and the reading, writing, arithmetics. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Too much homework makes me sick. Too much homework makes me sick. When it's time to pass the test, kindergarten is the best.
Kindergarten is the best.
And so then...
and then finally it gets to them. in the classroom, and they're doing Old MacDonald. They got Arnold. He's got a straw hat on, a little guitar,
bandana, a little ukulele that he's playing, and
Emma, she's doing a little dance. Mm-hmm. And finally, it's like, all right, it's nap time, and it's like, take your milk.
Now we
got a little advertisement for milk.
Yep. Take your milk so you can grow big and strong.
Like me.
And so as he's passing out the milk, Dominic walks up to him with a book. He's like, we all like this one. And if you read it to us now, everybody will go to sleep.
I forgot earlier when he first introduces the whistle before we go to the montage.
Mm-hmm.
He looks up at Dominic, and Dominic gives him the okay sign.
Yeah, the okay sign.
There's a great meme. If you can find, a little GIF, right? It's Dominic doing that, and it says "Okay, Boomer." So, yeah, and so he starts reading the story. He looks at it, he's like, "Oh, I used to read this to my son." Right? And everyone's like, "Oh, what's his name?" And he's like, "Oh, Alex." And he tells him, he lives with his mother. And then it's like, "Oh, his mother and I," and he pauses. He was like, he's thinking, "Oh, these are kids." And like, they're divorced.
Yeah.
someone's out there. It's like, and then someone's asking, "What's a divorce?" And it's like, "It's when your daddy lives someplace else and comes over to take you places."
Lol.
And your mommy says he's deadbeat.
And your mommy says deadbeat.
And then Dominic's like, "No, it's when the daddy doesn't want to see his little boy anymore." And then he's like, "It's not." It's like, "Why don't you want to see your little boy? Was he bad?" He's like, "No, he was not bad. It wasn't his fault." This is deep conversation.
Yes, it is.
For a kindergarten class.
Yes. So then he just starts reading the book. He tells everybody to lay down, and they all lay down. They pull their blankets up, and he starts reading the book.
It's a nice little rhyming book. If you were a bird and lived on the high, and you leaned on the wind, when the wind came by, you'd say to the wind when it took you away, "That's where I want to go today. Where am I going? I don't quite know. What does it matter? Where people go. Down to the wood, where the bluebells grow. Anywhere, I don't know." Right? And then finally, he falls asleep.
Yep, he goes and he sits down at his desk.
He has his milk. Perfect teacher.
Yes.
He leads by example.
Milk.
He drank his milk.
Mm-hmm. And he looks over.
It's raining outside, by the way.
It's raining outside. Yeah, he looks. He turns and looks out the window, and Crisp comes just gliding in from off screen.
He's on like a conveyor belt.
He's like, he just comes gliding in out in the rain, and locks eyes with Kimball and raises a gun. And as soon as he pulls the trigger, and Kimball shouts, but no noise is coming out of his mouth. Then he wakes up, and he had dozed off at his desk.
Yep.
And Joyce is standing there. She had entered the room, and Kimball's got a little milk mustache going on. And he's got a glass that's half full of milk. So, where did he get the glass? Is it just a glass that's always been in the classroom? Or, did he go to the teacher's lounge to get it? Like, did he leave the kids unattended to go get a glass?
Hey, maybe the other the regular kindergarten teacher, it's her bourbon glass.
I mean, maybe. It's a big
they
glass.
Fall asleep.
So
she has bourbon.
Yeah.
She doesn't drink her milk. She drinks bourbon.
Yeah. And with that glass, I could see how she could drink like a full glass of bourbon like that. But, yeah, so, I mean, why can't he just drink it out of the carton? All the kids have straws.
So Joyce is in there, and she's impressed. He got them all to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And she invites him over for dinner.
Yes. Invites him over to dinner. And once he accepts the invite, then it's like 6:37. That's a very specific time. I know she means 6:30 or 7, but the way she says it, it sounds like she's saying 6:37.
Yeah.
Like, the exact time of 6:37.
Hey, some people like odd times. There are people that are like that. No. It's like, no, it's not going to be the top or the bottom of the hour. It's going to be 7:20 or 7:40, or it's going to be something like 6:37. So she gives him direction. She gives him directions because this is 1990. There's no MapQuest yet. There's no smartphone where you just type it in the Google Maps or Waze. Someone had to give you directions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she hands him directions.
He goes back to the motel.
And then she comments on his little mustache.
That's right. She does comment on the mustache.
She comments on the mustache and then wipes it off his mouth. And then he's like, it must be the milk. What else would it be?
He magically grow a mustache.
And if he did magically grow a mustache, she wouldn't have been able to wipe it off with her thumb.
Right. Just let her touch your face. Anyway, so he gets back to the motel. And there's a strange car in the front of it.
Yep.
Right?
So when he goes inside, he pulls his gun. And he hears some noises going on in Phoebe's room. Sounds like a struggle. So he kicks open the door. He's like, freeze! And it's just Phoebe having sex. With her fiance.
With Bob Nelson. Or I should say
Henry
Shoup.
Played by Bob Nelson.
If you're not aware who Bob Nelson is, he was Rodney Dangerfield's opening act for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
For quite a while, and he actually is in several of Dangerfield's HBO specials.
And if you don't know who Rodney Dangerfield was, then I mean that's kind of fitting because that guy got no respect. So
we'll probably do Caddyshack one day.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
There's also Back to School. And I'd say to do Caddyshack first, but yeah, no. So he doesn't do a lot of like film roles. He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian. But this is easily his most notable role within an actual movie. So,
yep.
He's completely naked. Like he's hiding his crotch and his butt with pillows.
He jumps off the bed and he picks up 2 pillows, puts one over his crotch, one over his butt.
And he's a chef by that's
yes,
his
he's
job.
A chef.
And he came up to bring her dinner, her favorite meal on her birthday.
Yep. On her birthday.
And I'm sorry, no, it's not the pasta giallo. No, her favorite meal is a little dude. I mean, little Henry.
She wants that shoop. It makes her want to shoot. Shoop-a-doop, shoop-a-doop, shoop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop.
I love how Kim was like, you're marrying a chef. She's like, I'm marrying a great chef.
He's like, oh, you think I'm a great chef?
And then Kimball's like, that figures he's marrying a chef. All he's eating.
So, meanwhile, Henry, makes his way into the bathroom to put on a robe. And he puts on Phoebe's pink frilly robe. Because it's what's available. And
so, yeah. So it gets back to the next day, and it's like that. They don't do much of this next day, but this is the day of the date also.
Yeah.
But it's the end of the school day. Excuse me. And he wants to talk with Zach's mom. Mm-hmm. He sees her in the car, right? And she tells him to go for a little walk.
Yeah, so he's able to...
The teacher and I have to talk.
Yeah, so he's able to catch her before she drives away.
Yep.
And, yeah, so she sends Zach out to take a walk. And before Kimball can say what he wants to talk to her about, she's like, I'm sure you probably saw the bruises on Zach's legs. And this is news to Kimball.
He's like, oh.
Yeah, so he's just kind of playing along. And so, yeah, she's like, my husband started seeking counseling. And
right. It's a weird thing. It's like, okay, he's off the list as a suspect, but now.
Yeah, but now it's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
So
this guy's been going for 3 weeks. Like, don't bring the school system into it. It's going to make matters worse. He's like, he's beating you too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And again, like, all right. So we got
like,
a movie.
Please don't bring anybody else into this. Don't.
That's why it's not just simply a normal family movie, because deal with law divorce.
It deals with some serious
domestic
subjects.
Violence.
Yeah, it deals with some serious subjects. Domestic violence, child abuse. And so then he sits and thinks about it for a second. And then he's like, if he does it again, I'm pressing charges.
Yep.
And then he walks off.
So now we actually cut to something we haven't seen in a while. We get away from Astoria.
Mm-hmm.
And we get back to Cindy, right? And she's buying some drugs off this dude, right?
Yep.
This is like kind of like this open market area, right?
Yep.
And she says thanks. She walks off, and then the guy, he kind of walks down like one of the stall areas, and Chris Smith walks out, and he just says, "Here, lady, I gave her your stuff." Right? And then it's like, it's like, where's the rest of my money? She gives him the money. He's like, who are you? Her response like, I'm your fairy godmother.
So, yeah.
Right? So he gets back to the room, right? It's right before the date. He's like, oh, I found out Zach Sullivan and his wife are well, not really the crisp. Right? So, and then she brings out a bottle of wine, right? It's like, I got a bottle of wine for your big date.
He's like, you got to take her a bottle of wine. He's like, no, I'm not going to take
it's not a date.
It's not a date.
It's like, yeah, but she shouldn't think that it's not a date. She needs to think it's a date.
Yeah.
It's like, but no, I can't have alcohol. It's an easy way to slip up. It's like, it's a date.
Yeah, it's a date. You have to take it. So
you bring wine on a date.
And flowers. And she reaches in the bag and pulls out a bouquet of flowers.
On a date for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You bring wine.
You bring wine. And flowers. Hands in the wine, hands in the flowers. And then we're at the house. We're at Joyce's house. And it's this big house.
Huge.
It's a big house.
And I love right away, like, the first thing, like, if I was like, I think about, as I'm kind of thinking about the notes, not thinking about screenplay and what I know about the movies, like, it's like, oh, yeah, that's a big house. He's going to notice, that's a big ass house.
That's a house that a third or fourth grade teacher can't afford on their salary.
On her own salary.
Yeah.
She was married to somebody that got paid decently well. Yes. But she's a single mother.
He Kimball even comments on that. He's like, wow, they must be paying you a lot more than they pay me.
And it's like, oh, no, it's my friend's house.
Yeah, they let us stay here.
After the divorce, he said we could stay here in exchange for keeping the place up. He's like, he must have nice friends.
He must have nice friends.
He's like, yeah, dinner won't be ready for a while. Can you start a fire?
Yeah, so then Dominic is like, hey, I'll show you where the wood is.
Takes him to his little
hideout in the woods.
In the bushes behind the house.
Yeah, and he's got all these
lasers.
He's got all this aluminum foil just wrapped around tree branches.
It's such a kid thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is my secret hiding spot. It's like,
and then
it's like 2 feet into the bushes. It's a secret hiding spot.
Hey, he's 5 or 6.
Yeah,
it seems secret.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the back behind the bushes and looks, away out their backyard.
Well, first he's like, I have these lasers to keep the bad people away.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Thank you.
And then when Kimball starts asking about the bad people, and he's like, "You want to see something cool?" And that's when he takes him over.
Right. And he shows him this, large,
there's a radio tower. And
it's like, I'm going to plant one of my lasers on that antenna. I have to do it at night. Otherwise, the bad people will know where it is. Right?
Mm-hmm. So this gets
we got to promise not to tell anybody.
Yeah. So this gets Kimball thinking. He's like, maybe it's Dominic. Maybe Crisp is his daddy.
Yep. But gets back to the house, and Dominic's like, last one of the table is a rotten banana. And so he's like, I'll be right back. And so he kind of sneaks upstairs, sees Dominic's room, right? We see the Ghostbuster sheets as he talked about.
Sheets. And he goes into Joyce's bedroom.
And
looking through her drawers.
No, he doesn't sniff them. He's going through the drawers.
And
he goes into the closet, and he's looking up on top of the closet, right? And that's when Dominic's like, "What are you doing in here, silly?
What are you doing here?" And he's like, "This house is so big. I'm looking for the dining room." In your mom's closet.
Where's the dining room?
I thought it was in your mom's closet. Sorry.
Hey, thankfully he's a kindergartner. He's not going to think too much about it.
Dom was like, "Follow me, silly."
Right.
So then Dominic.
Look, it's nighttime. He got the fire going.
Yep, and Dominic has been put to bed.
And like, these are beautiful pictures of you and Dominic. And she's like, thank you. And when I was putting Dominic to bed, he mentioned he had a son.
And so he starts talking about his son. And he's 13. And then how his ex-wife, married a real good guy that,
was good to his son.
Good to his son. And, he's able to see him all the time. And, then starts asking her about her ex.
Right? And he's like, does he see Dominic? He's like, oh, no. He moved to France. Which, earlier when they're playing the Who's Your Daddy game, that's what Dominic says. Like, and France.
Kimball calls her out on her bullshit.
Say, well, what about child support and alimony? Right?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, no, I was just glad to see him go.
I didn't really think about that stuff, but yeah. And then she gets honest with him. She's like, yeah, he's not in France. I just told that to Dominic. He didn't leave us. We left him.
Dominic he said, Dominic talked about having to move around a lot to keep bad people away.
Yeah, that's right. And she's
like, bad people? He's like, yeah, having to leave in the middle of the night and leave his toys behind.
She's like, I thought he forgot about that. And then that's when she gets real with him. And she's like, he didn't leave us. We left him.
He's a walk-in nightmare.
And
he's like, he found out where we were and he tried to kidnap Dominic, but he doesn't know where we are now. And I want to keep it that way.
Oh, he knows where you are. He knows.
Oh, yes. And he just said, like, you know what? I didn't know who he was when I married him. I was young, stupid. I made a mistake. I don't need Dominic to pay for it. It's like no one here knows about this. And I can't believe I told you. Yeah, no, I believe he told him.
Mm-hmm.
It's Arnold. You're getting that feeling in those toes. And it's tripping up.
Yep.
Anyway. So then it cuts to the next day, and the whole class is rehearsing the Gettysburg Address. And
while the rest of the classes are setting up the gym for something for an event.
Yeah, it seems like the school kind of helps put on like this town fair or something, right? And I guess one class every year does the Gettysburg Address. And how they have it, they're all dressed as Abraham Lincoln. They got their little cardboard paper stovepipe hats and cotton ball beards, right? And each person does like a line of it, but then when they do the line, like 7 years ago,
and the rest of the class
says 7 years ago, right?
And the little girl comes out and says 7 years ago. Then Lowell comes up. Was it Lowell or Sebastian? Sylvester. Lowell or Sylvester?
I think it was Sylvester.
Sylvester. Yeah, Sylvester comes up. He's like, our forefathers. Wait, did Abraham Lincoln have four fathers?
And then one's like, I had three fathers, one named Walt and two named Ralph.
That was Joshua. And so you see his mom. She's one of the ones helping set up.
His mom's there helping.
And she's just like, oh, no. She just puts her head in her hand.
and then one's like, what? Did he have four mothers?
And Kimball's like, no, he had two mothers.
Unfortunately, the first one died. And Lowell's like, I knew it.
Yeah, Lowell's like, I knew it.
and then, he sees Joyce, and he's like, all right, we're going to take a time out. They're going to walk around in a circle. Right? We're going to have a break.
Just walk around in a circle.
They just march in a circle. Dressed as Abraham Lincoln. And they do it.
They do it.
And then, all right. No, it's not. No, Phoebe's there. It's Joyce that comes in. And he's like, yeah, Joyce. I checked out Joyce's story about the house. And it checked out. It belongs to a guy. He only uses it during the ski season. It's like, wow. What does that do, dude? What does that do for a living?
To have a ski house like that?
Anyway. And she says, like, yeah, no, she barely has any money in the bank. She doesn't have any stocks. There's no bonds. There's no assets. It's like, under the, it's like, yeah. And she's like, yeah. And then her salary is less than mine, which is pathetic. Right. And then, like, but Kimball, he's sure, like, no, he knows, like, it's her. It's definitely her.
Yeah.
Check under Dominic's name somehow, any offshore accounts. Like, he knows it. It's her. Like, you know, his detective whistles all went off. He knows it. He's got his hunch. Not even a hunch at this point, really. I mean, it's so. And, and he was like, well, like, why are you so sure? Because she doesn't want anything to do with her ex-husband, right? Which, could describe a lot of women. It's like, no.
Or is it because you want it to be her?
It's like, you want it to be her.
Because you like her.
And it's scaring you. Right? And meanwhile, we actually haven't seen her in a while. We see Jillian show up, and she's got like a little donkey, riding donkey.
No, it's a miniature pony. She's got a little miniature horse.
Miniature pony, and she's got these other things, all these really nice
and a bike.
things.
So she's got a bike and a miniature pony, and she's like, "Hey, I figured I'd bring these things for the raffle."
And of course, she's single, and she's got all this money that she's blowing, but like, it's obviously too obvious.
Yeah.
That's to be her, right?
Yeah.
So, it's right. I love how Phoebe's like, "Who the hell is that?" It's like, "Oh yeah, she's the one I was telling you about. Her husband ran away with another guy." And like how he's like, "It's been terrible on her."
Yeah, I feel terrible for her. and Phoebe's like, "I bet you do."
Mellow on me, are you?
You're not getting mellow on me, are you? It's been terrible on her.
Hey, he's a badass with a heart of gold. We saw this.
Yes.
He tenderly cared for her when she had the stomach flu.
Yes.
Right? So they're getting back into the classroom, and that's when he actually sees Joyce again, right? As he's walking back to their class.
As he's walking through the hall.
Like, like, oh, about last night. I'm glad I told you.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. I'm glad I told you.
And she's like, and he's like, I better get going.
Meanwhile, they're outside her classroom, and
she's like, I gotta get going too.
And she kind of kisses him on the cheek.
Okay? He's like, yeah. And then, yeah, they kiss.
She kisses him on the cheek, and then her whole class like, ooh.
And then she's like, see you tomorrow at the fair. It's like, I'm looking forward to it. And he looks at the class. They're all looking at it. He's like, what are you looking at? I was just talking to the teacher. So it's the end of the day, and not the end of the day. Like they get back to the class, and now Zach's mom comes up with him. Like, oh, I'm sorry, Zach's late. You know, the car wouldn't start.
Yeah, and then
he's like, yeah, you be a good boy. I love you. And Kimball's like, oh, hi. And he puts his hand around him.
Puts his hand on his shoulder.
Zach's like, ow!
Zach's like, ow! And so he pulls his collar back a little bit and sees this big bruise right at the base of his neck, across his shoulders. And so Kimball follows the mom outside, pissed. Catches up with her right outside the school, and he starts.
It's like, oh, I forgot to close the door of the basement. Zach had a bad fall. It's like, you all say the same thing. He fell down. Don't you have anything better to say? And she's like, I don't have to justify myself.
And meanwhile, in the background, there's a man getting out of the car.
It's like, he must be this Mr. Kimball I keep hearing about.
Yeah, and Kimball sees him, and he starts walking toward him like real quick. And he's like, you must be this Mr. Kimball I keep hearing about. And Kimball grabs him.
You hit the kid.
Yeah, he's like, he shoves him up against the car. He's like, you hit the kid, I hit you. And then he punches him in the stomach.
And the guy's like, you bastard. He's getting ready to actually punch him in the face now.
And then he realizes that all the kids have followed him outside.
Yes.
And there's all these other students out there.
There's other students.
Yeah, there's other students and teachers.
Miss Schlowski's out there too. Linda Hunt's looking on.
And
he's like,
before he punches him in the face, he's just like, you're not worth it. And
he's like, I'm pressing charges against you.
Yeah.
Right? And so now it cuts back to Miss Schlowski's office. And he's in there. He's like, I'm sorry. Shouldn't have hit that man in front of the children.
Hit that man in front of the children. I know it was bad. I know it was a bad decision. And
then she cuts him off.
And she's
like, I checked you out.
I checked you out.
There's no record of you of having taught in any public school in California or anywhere else. It's like, Mr. Kimball, you have no teaching experience whatsoever, do you? It's like, someone finally noticed.
And then he tries to explain himself. She's like, I'm not done.
I thought the introduction of a fair was a horrible idea. The children liked it. The use of a police whistle was outrageous. He's like, that's all I could finish. The thing is like, allow me to finish. It worked. Like, I have no idea what kind of police officer you are, but you're a very good teacher. And finally he's like, Now tell me something. Don't lie.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
I love it because this whole time she's kind of walking around him, and then she sits down next to him when she says that.
Oh,
yeah. Now tell me something.
She leans in.
Don't lie. Leans in. How did it feel to punch that son of a bitch?
She lives with just such gusto. That son of a bitch. It's like, it felt great. I don't know how she nods. Like, yeah. And then he's dismissed.
Yeah, so when he walks out, then she shuts the door and turns around and throws a punch.
I love how she does it too. She's just like, ah! 4'9" Lindon. Hey, she'd be perfect height. She could deliver that punch straight to his nutsack.
Yep, she could.
She doesn't have to do a little uppercut. No, she can just go straight at it. So we cut, and now it's back to like the captain from earlier, and we see, they're in the morgue, and Cindy's dead.
Yeah, Cindy's dead.
They
like there goes our only witness.
She OD'd. And this is where it gets real too. She's like this kind of, you kind of like felt bad for her earlier. Like, no, they just kill her off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
So Captain's like, well, let's get word to Kimball that Crisp is going to walk. Our only witness is dead.
Right. And like the idea, and it's like, well, then, O'Hara said, O'Hara's been in contact with them while Kimball is doing all his work. And just, she just told them, like, well, they think they locate the wife, but they don't have the money, and they're still looking into it. And then so he just tells them, okay, well, have them tell the wife that they're going to let Crisp go, and he knows where she is.
And if they want police protection, they need the money.
She'll produce the money, right?
Because it's like $3 million that was taken from Crisp.
It was a lot of money. And so we then got to Crisp. He's leaving jail, and then he sees his mother, and like, we're going to be a family together again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he's off looking in the. He's walking by a toy store.
They get down to a store. He goes in this toy store, and he sees in the window like there's a big
racetrack, like an electric racetrack.
Yep. And the cars are going, and he likes it, and
he thinks it would be the perfect gift for Dominic.
Right? And someone else is about to buy it. And so the man, right? And the other man, like, he knows the toy store owner, right? And so, but Chris comes in and he offers to buy, give him, pay him 3 times what it's worth. And he can buy him whatever you want, his son, whatever he wants. It's my son's birthday. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so then Chris leaves it alone, right? And he says, I'm sorry to bother you.
But here's the thing, though. So the guy, the toy store clerk, Daryl is the guy's name, the guy that wants to buy the racetrack.
Right.
And the toy store clerk is like, he walks him over to it in the window just as, Chris was walking in and looking at it. He's like, yeah, this is the last one. It's still in good shape. If you'd like, I can wrap it up for you. If you just give me a minute, I can wrap it up for you. And it's like, sure, that'd be great. So the guy picks up the box, walks over to the counter where the girl is, where the cashier is, and he asks the guy if he wants it gift wrapped. And,
right.
Yeah, he's like, yes, and so he hands it to the girl and asks her to gift wrap it. If the display model is the last one they have, isn't he going to take it apart and put it in the box before they gift wrap it?
That would be a very good point. Yes.
So, yeah, because I mean, if it was just the box, like if there was a racetrack in the box and the box was displayed along with a different racetrack,
right,
that was all put together, then sure, that would make sense. And you just grab the box and do that. But then why would he bother saying, "Oh, it's still in pretty good shape"?
Yeah.
If it wasn't like taken out and assembled and had the cars running on it. He would still say this one's new.
I completely missed that point. That's very good.
So
I like that. Yeah.
So basically, they gift wrap an empty box for the guy.
Jokes on Crisp. Because Crisp comes back out right after the guy gets out, gets his truck, and he tries to buy it off him again. Right. The guy still won't do it. And so he punches him and then knocks his head into the open car door, knocks it out, and steals the racetrack.
Yep. And then he goes and he meets up with his mom at the pharmacy. He was in the
pharmacy buying a rectal thermometer.
Yes. Children's Tylenol, children's, all these different children's medications, and then
can't be too careful. Thermometer. There's all types of things out there.
And yeah, so then he's like, why are you getting all this stuff? You shoved all this stuff down my throat when I was a kid, and I was never sick. He's like, this is why you weren't sick.
The pharmacist is nodding his head in approval.
Yep.
I want to bring this back up since we're just talking about the captain, who's played by Richard Portnow. He was also on Murder, She Wrote. He was not touched by an angel. Not on Doctor Who, but he was on Murder, She Wrote. So, 2 episodes of Murder, She Wrote, different characters.
Wow.
91 and 93.
All right. Maybe we should maybe we should do a Murder, She Wrote podcast.
We should do we should have a special episode where we just do a the pilot to Murder, She Wrote. Right. So meanwhile,
we all know Jessica Fletcher is the murderer. I mean, that's clear. Jessica Fletcher is the killer.
We've talked about this.
Yes, we have.
So he's in town. They're back at the school, and they're doing the whole Gettysburg Address thing. And Miss Schlosky is introducing the entire town to their kindergarten teacher, who came as a substitute, but has become a valued asset to the school, right? And they all cheer. It's like, let's welcome to the community and hope he considers staying on a permanent basis, right? So finally, let's see. Let me just make sure we get to the right point here. Oh yeah, and so the kind of the end of the thing. At the end of the festivities, and
before that we had a little montage of different games being played, and
that's right, yes,
all that, and we have Joyce and Kimball doing the 3-legged race, and people are falling all around them, and then they fall, and she falls on top of him,
and they look at each other and they're like,
and then they get back up, and
I'll play a 3-legged race with you.
So then it goes into the whole Gettysburg Address thing, and then
right, and they kind of get to the end of things, and then now Phoebe's there, and he sees her, and he's like, no, Cindy's dead. We gotta press, we gotta press her now, or it's done, right? We've run out of time, right?
And then Joyce sees,
and he's like, they released
Phoebe.
Crisp this morning. He's probably on his way right now.
Yeah.
Right? Joyce, he's like, oh, hi, Ursula.
And then this is where they get real with her. And she's like,
what are you doing here? We gotta tell you the truth. Her name's not Ursula. She's not my sister. She's like, what?
I'm a cop, you idiot.
He's not. He's a little more gentle than that. It's like, we're police officers. We know who you are. Yeah, and then it's like Rachel. I was like, this is a joke. It's like, no, it's not a joke. Like, you took millions, right?
You took $3 million.
Chris knows where you are. He could be here any minute. And all of a sudden, it's like, where's Dominic? And Phoebe's like, Phoebe, like, you're gonna get immunity for your testimony. We just need you to help. And she keeps saying, like, where's Dominic? And they're like, well, we can offer you protection if you tell us about the money. And finally she gets Dominic, and they're riding off. It's like, there is never any money.
Yep.
Right?
And she's getting into her geo tracker again.
And then Dominic's like, why are you angry at Mr. Kimball? Because he's a jerk.
But he was...
Like, where are we going?
But yeah, Dominic was riding the horses. He was riding the ponies. And she went and she pulled him off the horse. And so he starts crying. He starts screaming. He's like, no, it's my turn. And he's upset.
Bad people found us.
So they take off.
It's like, if you didn't take the money, why is he after you? And
he's like, he doesn't want the money. He wants Dominic.
He wants Dominic.
And then she gets in the car and drives off.
And Phoebe's like, she's going to run again. It's like, yeah. It's like, unless we do something about it. He's like, yeah. He's like, snap out of it. Right? So, we've already kind of covered that. So he finally, he rides over to his house, and he's like, Joyce, Dominic. And then, Joyce comes in. He's like, you bastard, where's Dominic? And like, she's trying to find him. It's like, where is he? And it's like, if he found him, if you let him here, right? And he's saying, he's like, I think I know where he is, right? It's like, it's like, no, let's calm down. Like, we'll find him. Did he say anything before he left? And she's like, he said something about his lasers.
Yeah, and then he's like,
it's like,
I think I know where he is. So they go to the tower. And Dominic is climbing up the tower. All right, and
God bless this
here's
kid.
the thing. Like, from the camera angles and everything like that, and where it's showing Dominic going up there, and there's birds perched on there and flying around it and stuff.
Right.
It looks like he's really, like, high on this tower.
He's high. Yes.
But, yeah, so he's pulling out his little, like, rolled up aluminum foil lasers.
Yeah, and he's
just, like, draping them over on the thing.
Spots. Yeah.
And then a bird flies. A bird takes off the tower, and it scares him. And he slips, and his backpack gets hooked on the tower. So he's just hanging there, and he's screaming as Kimball and Joyce are coming up to the tower,
arriving right there. Yes.
And so Kimball rushes up to get him, but all the angles, all the camera angles before and all this made it look like he was like 100 feet up.
Yeah,
150, 200 feet, like way up, like at least halfway up the tower.
Halfway up the tower. Yeah.
And he's only like 15, maybe 20 feet up. He's barely up this tower. Which maybe for a kindergartner was still high for him. But because Kimball's like, I'll get him, and he's up there in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So he gets up to him and unhooks his backpack from the tower.
Which makes it a lot easier for him just to climb down with a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
15, 20 feet as opposed to 100 feet.
Yeah.
For 100 feet, climbing down a tower with a 5-year-old, even for a man like Arnold or Kimball, that's a big task.
It is. Yes, he gets him down, and Joyce, is so happy that Dominic's okay, that he's safe, and she seems to not be mad at Arnold at all, ever, like, at all anymore. Like, so.
Right, and so they're talking about like this afterwards, and it's like, and she's just kind of getting a little bit more like honest about what's happens. Like she's like, I don't know, I could go on living if I lost him. That's right. And Colin, he's like, yeah, Colin said I stole the money, so those creeps would follow us for a reward. You don't know what he's like. It's like, oh, yes, I do. Like, I've been following this guy for 5 years. Right? And then when she kind of puts it that way, like the bad people, it's like, yeah, it's like all these other, like, drug runners and, his distributors and supply people, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're angry at him because he probably owes them money.
Yep.
Let's go find his wife. Those would be the bad people, right? Anyway.
Those would be the bad people.
So, yeah. So, it's like, I know him well. And that's why I don't want him to get to you two. Right? And he's like, well, I can't trust you or anybody. He's like, you can't trust me. He's like, that's what you said before. And he turned out to be a cop. And I mean to hurt you. I wish I was a kindergarten teacher, but I'm not. I'm a cop.
This is all I know how to do. Yeah. So. And then he tells her the truth about his son. And how...
no, she doesn't want me to be part of his life at all. I lost my family.
Mm-hmm.
Get Arnold being real. You never get Arnold being real like this.
Yep. He hasn't seen his son in years.
He's like, I don't want to lose you too. I don't want to lose Dominic. So, right, we get the next day, right? And now, Phoebe's there. It's like, I'm here. Kimball's here. Right? You don't have to worry about anything. We're going to be right across the hall. Everything's going to be fine.
Yep.
Right? So, meanwhile, while they're doing this, right,
Cullen Crisp
Sr. is having a meeting with Miss Schlosky. And she's giving a whole nice spiel about the school. He's like, I think that's great. Right?
Yep.
And they cut back to the classroom, and he's like, I want you to meet a friend of mine.
This is Phoebe O'Hara.
You say, hello, Miss O'Hara. And it was like, hello, Miss O'Hara.
This is Phoebe O'Hara. And they're like, good morning, Phoebe. And so,
it's like, Miss O'Hara's going to talk to you something about very important. So pay attention to what she has to say, okay?
Yeah.
He looks at her, he's like, remember, no fear. And then little Milo raises his hand.
Yep. I love this. And he does his all, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
I see you taught them the basics.
See you taught them the basics. Important. And then I love this. It cuts back to Miko Hughes, and he's like cheering. He's like throwing his hands up. He's like
no. Instead, they're going to talk about something else important besides the birds and the bees. About strangers. And we never talk to strangers.
Say it with me. We never talk to strangers. Say it again.
What about
we
kids?
Never talk to strangers. Yeah.
What about kids? Can we talk to kids?
Yeah, you can talk. You can talk to kids. That's okay. What about dogs? Can we talk to dogs? What? Can we talk to dogs? Yeah, you can talk to dogs.
You can talk to dogs. But what you can't do, what you never must do,
never talk to
strangers. Right? So,
and then
now finally, he's getting a tour of the school.
Yeah, Chris was getting a tour of the school because he told Linda Hunt, he told Miss Schlosky that he and his wife are moving to town, and he was sent ahead to check out schools before they decide to actually move there. So she's giving him a tour of the school. They walk by the kindergarten class, and they're looking in,
and they're playing Mount Kimball.
Yeah, they're playing Mount Kimball.
And Dominic is the king of Mount Kimball.
Yep, Dominic is the king of the mountain. And so Phoebe's picking him up, and Dominic's the king of the mountain, and puts a little paper crown on his head, and Crisp sees him, and
he's got to turn around real quick.
That's my son. And then Arnold bursts out of this pile of kids. And Kimball, shoots up, and Crisp sees him and turns around real quick so he doesn't recognize him.
Yep. So, and then he goes back out.
And then we get Linda Hunt, though. Miss Schlosky is like,
that's right.
Yeah, he's a little off-putting at first, but yeah, he's a great teacher.
Yeah. So then you get cut Crisp. He goes back. He sees his mom. It's like
she's in the car.
She named him Dominic. she always wanted Dominic. What a dumb name.
Yeah. Because Cullen Crisp Jr. is a better name. I apologize if any of our listeners are named Cullen Crisp Jr.
Just Cullen. Your name's Cullen. Your name is Igor. Anyway, so, and he's smoking a cigar, and his mom's like, "Put that out. It's unhealthy for the kid." Because, his dad being a drug dealer is perfectly healthy.
Hey, he doesn't get high on his own supply, okay? He's not planning on giving the drugs to his kid.
Right? And so, next thing, he goes back into the library because he has... Remember earlier in the episode, we talked about how he has lighter fluid.
Yes, he has lighter fluid in his pocket. So he goes in the library.
He sees some, papers or, some
kid's artwork. He looks at kid's artwork, and he crumples it up, shoves it into the bookshelves.
And then lights it on fire.
And then squirts the lighter fluid all over the books and the papers. And
he gets his little lighter out, and then he lights it. Yeah. He goes away. Right? And then he cut back, and then, you see the exterior of the school, and there's smoke coming out of it. Right? And then the fire alarm goes off, and then, they're looking at each other. Is it a fire drill? Right? And
so
then
Phoebe goes to check.
Phoebe looks out, and Kimball, the hallway's full of smoke.
Which she could have seen through the window.
Yes.
That was thick smoke in that hallway.
It was thick smoke.
And there's big windows on the doors.
It is billowing through the school.
And she did not have to open the door to look out into the hall to see that it was full of smoke.
Right? So he says, "This is a fire drill. Come on. It's the real thing. Just as we practiced." Right? They get the ferret out. Right?
Mm-hmm. Dominic goes and grabs the ferret.
Right? And say, "We're going to stay close to the wall." Right? And then he's like, "Dominic, stay close to me, okay?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
But then, one of these other kids, I guess,
one of the older kids running
teach him
through,
how they go through the school in a fire drill.
Yeah, runs right into one of the little girls.
One of the girls, and she falls.
She falls and starts crying.
She's crying, and
so Kimball goes to help her.
He picks her up, and that's when Chris jumps out and grabs Dominic.
Yeah, because Dominic kept going when Kimball went over to help the girl, and so then he's calling for Dominic, and Dominic goes and and Dominic has taken the ferret and tucked him into a sweater.
Right.
So it looks like he's just got a little beer gut.
This ferret hides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it looks like a little 5-year-old with a beer gut.
Right, but Cullen jumps out and gets him. And then all the other kids, they see this. And they're like, "Stranger! Stranger!" And he's scared as shit. These kindergartners are yelling, "Stranger!" And he runs up the steps. It's a 2-story school. I don't think we said that before.
At this point, all the sprinklers are going off, so it's raining inside.
It's raining.
The sprinklers, and there's smoke.
Yeah. The kids are going outside. Fire trucks are coming up. There's police cars, right?
Yeah, so Kimball goes after Cullen.
Yep.
And
Joyce takes, not Joyce, Phoebe takes the rest of the class out.
Yeah, Phoebe takes the rest of the class
out. She's getting out. Joyce sees her, is like, where's Dominic? He's like, Kimball went looking for him. Yep. Right?
Yeah, she's like, Chris is here, but Kimball went after him.
Joyce runs in, right, after them, right? And then, they get up to this room, like a kind of a closet, like a janitor's closet or teacher's lounge up there. He's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's okay. I'm a fireman. I help people.
And then Thomas where's your hat? But if you're a fireman, where's your hat? And then Chris was like, I love it. I can't fool you. You're so smart. I can't fool you.
Back it up.
You're right.
Back it up. No 5-year-old's ever gonna think you're a fireman.
No. Dude's wearing a suit coat, a suit jacket, with a blue design, like a blue shirt with a design on it underneath the suit coat.
Dominic might be a smart boy, okay, but no. If he is, he's not getting it from your genes.
The guy's obviously not a fireman.
He's getting that from his mother, not you. Just slow your roll. So. It's like, it's going to be hard for you to understand, but you got to believe me. I'm your father, Dominic.
He's like, no, you're not. Me? No, you're not. My father lives in France.
It's like, don't you ever Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? We have the same hands.
We have the same kind of hands. Not the same hands. We have the same kind of hands. Human hands. We both have human hands.
He looks like, oh yeah, he has his father's hands. He's like, yeah, no, nose, eyes,
yes. He has his father's hands and his mother's ears, but the rest belongs to you.
It's like, I've been searching you for 5 years. Like, okay, he's that stupid. He thinks that the kid's gonna remember when he's like 6 months old, hearing him sing "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star."
Yeah,
no.
When every parent sings
Dominic,
their kid "Twinkle,
you're gonna
Twinkle,
have to do
Little
what
Star."
I say, right? And so he takes it out. They're still starting to navigate the rest of the school to get out. Kimball's up there now, and he busts into like this little lounge.
No, first, Kimball, he gets to the top of the stairs, and he reaches down to an ankle holster.
That's right.
And this is how big Arnold Schwarzenegger is, right? So typically, if somebody's got an ankle holster, you'd think, maybe they have a little snub-nose revolver or a subcompact pistol down there. He pulls out a full-size Beretta from his ankle holster. That is easily concealed by his gigantic leg.
and as he's taking it out, these few kids come running down the stairs.
Because he turns around the corner. He turns around the corner. Gun drawn, and these kids see it, and they start screaming. And so he waves them down the stairs.
And he goes into like this little. This must be like a little.
There's like a little lounge area. There's like a little couch inside.
There's a couch, and there's two kids making out.
There's two kids making out.
We thought it was another drill.
Their names are Kissing Boy and Kissing Girl, and Kissing Boy is played by Jason Reitman.
Hey, I know that last name.
And his sister, Catherine Reitman, was one of the third grade students.
Interesting.
One of the third grade girls.
Well, what about Kissing Girl? What's her name?
Kissing Girl is played by Tiffany Reeves.
Tiffany Reeves.
Mm-hmm. Wonder if she's related to Keanu.
That's a good question. It's like, no, it's not.
It's spelled differently.
The school's on fire. Get out.
It's spelled differently. Keanu's name has two E's. Hers has an EA.
Okay. Well.
So, yeah. Not related.
Oh, well. That would have been great if they were, but they're not.
Yep.
By the way, I was just looking. One of the assistants to the captain was in Fargo. Oh, and the manicurist name from the earlier movie is Roma. And the male hairstylist is Jason Stewart.
Yep.
Oh, well, this is a difficult thing. I'm looking at this. What? I see where it is. Airplane Boy 1, Airplane Boy 2, Airplane Boy 3. Trevor James Reeder, Travis Whitney Reeder, and then Jason Howard. Anyway. So they go out. They're like maybe 12 at the oldest, and they're making out.
Yeah.
Hey.
So he's like, 80s. Don't you know there's a fire? And they're like, we thought it was just another drill.
It's like, get out.
So meanwhile, Phoebe's trying to get back into the school, and the firefighter won't let her in. And she flashes her badge. Fine. She's like, I'm a cop. And she's like, well, if I need a ticket looked at, I'll call you. And so she decides she's going to run around the back and see if there's a back way in. So as she's going around, she pulls her gun out of her purse. And Chris' mom sees her. And as
she runs her down with a car.
Yes.
Like, I don't know where she has the space to run her down with the car in this property, but she has it.
She has it. And she hits her with the car, knocks her out, and then gets out and takes her gun. So
we come back to the school, and now, like, Joyce is in there. And wait, no, not yet, right? So yeah, she goes. Joyce has gone back in, but
So
where does Kimball get shot?
Is he with
Joyce?
No, Kimball. So it's they meet up with each other. Joyce finds Kimball.
He hasn't been shot. Yeah.
No, he.
They go looking for Dominic together.
They're looking for Dominic together, and they chase Crisp into the locker room.
Yes, that's right.
Because Dominic's able to get their attention because he screams.
Yes.
And so Crisp covers his mouth and ducks into the locker room. And so Kimball and Joyce follow him in there. And so Crisp pulls a gun and points it at Kimball. And before he can pull the trigger, the ferret comes out of Dominic's sweater.
That's right.
Bites Crisp in the neck, and it causes him to jerk his arm a little bit. And he, instead of shooting Kimball in the chest, he shoots him in the leg.
Right. And he falls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, and he, the Chris was kind of like been yelling at Joyce, like, he took him from me, should have been a family together, and everything like this, right?
And so, yeah, and so there.
But that's when, like, the ferret comes out, he bites, right? And then, he ends up firing, and he hits, like you said, Kimball in the leg, but then, that's when, but.
Then he ducks around the corner, and his mom comes in.
Right.
And Joyce goes after Crisp to try to get Dominic, and Crisp's mom has Phoebe's gun.
Right.
And so Kimball's able to get back on his feet, and then she shoots at him and hits him in the shoulder as he's trying to duck behind the showers.
Right. And she keeps saying, "Where's my grandson?"
And so, he's sort of limping away, and she turns the corner, sees his gun sitting on the floor.
Because I thought she sees Crisp dead.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
He's laying on the ground.
Yeah, because after, that's right. After Crisp shoots him in the leg, then he's able to pull his gun and shoot Crisp.
Right.
And kill him,
a couple times, and he's lying dead next to a urinal, essentially.
Next to a urinal. So that's when his mom comes in and sees Crisp there, and shoots Kimball, and Kimball kind of ducks away, gets hit in the shoulder, and then leaves his gun on the floor.
Dominic and his mom, they're hiding somewhere else there, and they're hearing all of this. They're hearing the gunshots, right? And he's like kind of laying in the shower area. And she's just shooting around him, right? It's hitting the tile, right?
Yeah, because she's
loud. It's
she's like asking him, "What did you do to my son?" And she, shoots once above his head, and then once kind of next to his head.
And he's like, "Go to hell!" Like, "Where's my grandson?
Where's my grandson?" And then
she gets closer to him
before she can shoot him.
Phoebe comes up.
Phoebe comes up with a baseball bat
and knocks her the head. And then
hits her arms first to knock the gun down out of her hands, and then
knocks her in the head.
And knocks her in the head.
And then she's like, "Not so tough without your car, are you?" Right. And so you get a fireman helping Phoebe out. She's limping because she's been hit by a
car. And they've got Kimball on a stretcher.
And then you have Joyce and Dominic. They're kind of in a blanket, kind of being, helping out as well.
And they're taking Crisp's mother out. On a stretcher. Kimball's on a stretcher. Crisp's mother's in handcuffs.
There's no body bag. Put him in a body bag.
And I love this. They're wheeling Kimball out on the stretcher, and a little boy, a little redhead boy, walks up and be like, "Mr. Kimball, are you all right?"
Little's like, "He's not dead. He's not in the body bag."
So they take him. They put Kimball in the ambulance and drives off, and then they
cut to the hospital.
Yeah, Kimball's in the hospital. He's got a cast on his leg.
Yep, his leg is still up there.
The nurse is in there trying to feed him
Jello right now.
Yeah, the nurse is trying to feed him Jello, and Phoebe walks in. Phoebe comes in on crutches, and she's like,
"It's like, oh, you gotta give him real food. He's not gonna like that."
Men don't eat Jello. And so the nurse, leaves them alone, and Henry comes in. Henry Shoup comes in, and he's got a bag with him. He's got a paper bag, and he's like, "Hey, I made you some food."
It's like, "Yeah, I cooked it myself." He's like, "I almost didn't recognize you with all your clothes on." It's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Well, you look good." It's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh yeah, the wedding. You coming to the wedding?" He's like, "Is it safe?"
Is it safe?
It's like, well, before he says like it's safe, like, he accidentally puts his hand down. Like,
you coming to the one? You got to be there.
That's keeping his leg up.
Yeah, he's got his leg elevated on a little pulley system, and he's like, "You got to be there." And he hits the cord.
His leg just goes flying up in the air.
He slams his leg in. And he's like, "Is it safe?"
Like, "Yeah, it's safe. I wouldn't." It's like, "Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world." And it's like, she kisses him. Like, "Oh, I'm gonna kiss you." It's like, she kisses him. It's like, it's like, "Thanks, partner." Right. Finally, cut back. We're back at the school. He walks in. He's got a cane.
He's got a cast on his leg. Which here's the thing, though. This happens a lot in movies and on TV. when somebody breaks their leg and they've got that full cast.
Yes.
The cast is always over their pants. Like, did they put the cast on him over his pants and then he just never changed those pants until the cast was off?
There's a chance.
Because you can't really tuck your pant leg down into the cast like that to where it's completely down your leg.
No. So the idea of the cast is to keep it immobilized?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, that happens all the time in movies and on TV, and I never understood it.
Anyway. So he's in. Miss Schlossky's there. She has his whistle. It's like
they're all yours.
They're all yours.
You know, the teacher's back.
Yep.
You know, and
he walks in.
Like their original teacher's back.
He blows the whistle, and they all look up. They're excited.
And Don was like, Mr. Campbell!
Like, hi, kids, I'm back.
And they all rush to him and hug him and crowd around him.
It's probably not the best thing for a man that's got a full leg cast.
Yeah, but
still.
I don't know.
I get it. And the original teacher, she's clapping. And we end there.
No, we don't end there. We don't end there. Joyce comes by.
Oh, that's
Joyce
right.
comes by and sees him.
And he gets out.
Because Joyce is in her classroom and she hears all the commotion.
She hears them screaming.
So she leaves her classroom and goes to the kindergarten class and sees him there.
Her class, they all line up by the window.
Mm-hmm. And so she walks up to him and they lock eyes. And then Lowell is like,
Uh-oh. They're
gonna do it. And they kiss.
They're just going to kiss. There's not emotional catharsis yet.
No, there is not emotional catharsis yet. The only emotional catharsis shown in this movie was between Phoebe and Henry. Or at least the aftermath of emotional catharsis.
Yeah, I think they're in between. I think they were in between sessions at that point. And then everyone goes, woo!
Yeah, they kiss and everyone's like, woo! Ooh. And then that's the end of it.
And that's the end of the movie. That's Kindergarten Cop.
It's Kindergarten Cop.
That's a great conversation.
Great movie.
I love this
movie.
If you haven't watched it, please watch it. It's funny. There's a lot of great stuff to it.
Yep.
So I don't have a whole lot else to say.
I don't either.
But
I don't either.
It's great.
Yeah,
we covered it really well.
Covered it really well. I mean, there are minor things that we didn't bother discussing, but that's just more that if you haven't seen it, it's more for you to experience.
You get to discover it, and you can tell us what we missed.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I love this movie. And so, if you want to follow us on social media, then check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Threads. We are Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. The and is spelled out A-N-D. It's not an ampersand like it is in the podcast. We're also on X or Twitter. It is R&T Cinematic. And if you want to check out some of our reviews on various movies, some we've done on the podcast, some we haven't done, some we will do, some we won't do, then check out our Letterboxd account. That is Cine Adventure or Cine Adventure, C-I-N-E Adventure. Or you can send us an email, robandtonycinematicadventure@gmail.com. Once again, the and is spelled out, A-N-D. It's not an ampersand like it is in the name of the podcast. But yeah, what did you think of Kindergarten Cop? Is it your favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger school movie? Is it your favorite school movie? Is it your least favorite school movie? You know, what do you think? What have you seen it? Have you not seen it? You know, do you just know it from the quotes? You know, let us know. We want to hear from you. But then if you enjoy what you're listening to, then go to our social media, give us a like and a follow, go to your favorite podcast app, wherever you're listening to us, hit that subscribe button, give us a good rating, a good review. That's how we move up in the standings and the search and the rankings and the recommendations. And that's how we can find more listeners. We can reach out to more ears and we can find some like-minded individuals who like to discuss movies and like to hear us talking about movies as much as we like talking about them.
That's right.
And so, do all that. And next week, we're going to have another good one. We are going to delve into the world of James Bond.
Finally.
So
who are we going to start with? Which Bond?
We are going to start with Daniel Craig Bond.
Ooh.
Yes. We are going to start with the first of the Daniel Craig Bond movies, Casino Royale.
Yeah. I'm excited to do this.
I am too. It's quite possibly the best Bond movie.
We will get to that, but I would argue that it could be. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing it.
I am a big fan.
It's been a while to do since we've done a Bond. We haven't done a Bond.
Yeah, we haven't done a Bond.
It's taken us a while to get to Bond.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to do it.
But I'm a very big James Bond fan, and I'm really looking forward to finally getting into a Bond movie.
Absolutely.
So, and it is the 2006 Casino Royale,
yes, the Daniel Craig,
not the one from the 60s. It is not the spoof James Bond movie. It is the actual James Bond Casino Royale from 2006, starring Daniel Craig and Eva Green and Dame Judi Dench. So yeah, join us next time for Casino Royale.